but for new users, it should say signing into HZip. You sign that message.
Sorry about that.
I'm struggling. My wallet's just acting up. It doesn't have anything to do with the site. All right, let's have a look here.
I'll do a little screen share.
Hey, it worked.
It worked?
Yeah, just logged in on the site, straight to chat. That's hard as fuck.
If you type in a message like a GM, does it?
Yeah, I typed it. It sent.
Let me see.
HB.
Oh yeah, HB.
We're live, MFs. Damn, that's hot. Good job, bro.
So
That's
literally
huge.
just log in.
We can use that signature for like other authenticating things on the HZip site too.
Oh, sick, dude. That's fire. And then I could just, okay.
John's in.
And really it's just easy as that?
Yeah, so what we do is we take that signature that you do on HZip, we pass it into Trenches, and we use it to go through the auth flow automatically. It kind of bypasses the old auth flow.
Damn.
Nice.
So it should work in like frames. We just got to fix like the styling of the frame or like of the chat box in the frame. But
can we do that? Is it not an iframe or something?
It's an iframe, but like, you know, if we need to adjust Trenches code, like I can do that. If we need to size it differently and the HZip app, we can do that too. Yeah.
Sick as fuck.
Fire.
Nice. That's cool.
I see my ENS up there and everything.
There we go.
I apologize. I'm kind of sick. Gonna be blowing my nose a lot.
Being sick sucks.
I don't feel sick. It's just my nose is on a mission, dude. It's on a marathon. Do we want to talk about that idea of smart wallet login?
Sick sucks.
Which one?
I'm game. I think the general theme was like do crypto without crypto.
Right. Basically, like, if we can abstract crypto, just like, you know, like what Zora does, the structure they have there, but then they're still like blasting fucking green and red in your face and numbers and shit. Like, if we could just, anybody can log in and they have a wallet, but they don't know that they have a wallet, and maybe they don't want a wallet. It's compelling to me.
Yeah. I love that.
If short term, also you got to think like, okay, if we want to do mints on the site, if they have a wallet, it's like we need to get them funds to do the mint too, right? So it's wallet plus probably on ramp to like make that impact actually like work with that roadmap.
Well, in theory, you could, you know, that could be part of it. Our rewards program is like, if you tune into the stream, you log in and you chat, you get, I don't know, 10 cents, like QR style. You get 10 cents of higher. And then if a mint is $1, then you watch 10 streams and you can mint one for free, basically.
Yeah. Distributing.
I don't know.
I mean, distributing tokens to participants in the stream is good. It's going to invite in a lot of slop. So we need to filter that out. But
yeah, true.
we can cross that bridge.
It is harder without, you know, with the smart wallet versus Farcaster login, we don't have the Nanar support, right?
Yeah, we don't have like a name. Like they'd have to pick a username somehow. Because like right now, you guys are showing up as like Colfax and no. They would just be an address unless we had another identity system.
Does it make a Farcaster account for you? Can you do that? Like log in, like make an account on HZ makes you a Farcaster account.
So each Farcaster account costs like 20 cents to make, and it's like an on-chain transaction. So it's actually not super easy. And then it doesn't even give you a username. That just gives you an FID. And you either gotta like register a base name, which those are pretty cheap.
Yeah.
It's like a whole thing. You know, they make it hard to access this stuff. It's so annoying.
Yeah, it's not ideal. And it doesn't make sense. And it doesn't answer any of our questions about, or not questions, but it doesn't mitigate the idea of abstracting crypto away. You know, what you would do, like fucking phone number or email sign in, right? If you were really pushing away from the idea that it's crypto forward.
Mm-hmm.
Does Privy not do like a email sign-in thing we could do?
They do email sign, get you a wallet, but just as a wallet, then you don't have like a username. So we'd have to have like a username registration process, which would probably use like ENS on base. We could skip the Farcaster side and try and figure out how to give them a base name, because I just feel like looking at an address is like pretty whack. Like, you know.
How does Zora give out their usernames?
Good question. You might just pick one and they have a database.
I was just going to
honestly.
say, what if we made our own just database of usernames?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
There's
think we're
like,
probably gonna have to make a database anyway to do like, if we go further into like the points thing, you might need to have name wallet points anyway, and then points will be calculated from on-chain activity. We'll have some off-chain maths that this NFT or this, you know, you donated to the power or you were part of the migration, these different things, and what we want to think about right now.
Wouldn't be a HZ stream without someone's computer dying. But
what was I just saying? My bad. Sums up here. Am I back at all? Is this a current feed? I don't know if you guys can hear me. Testing if you guys can hear me right now. I don't know if you guys can hear me. All right, so you guys can hear me. Cool. Some technical difficulties, I guess. My browser kind of fucking spazzed out. So just logging back into the Meet, and we'll be back online in 2 seconds. In the meantime, what I'll do is I'll cut off the feed to this so you could look at this pretty little thing that I made. We'll wait for the live feed to get back on.
A hat, so then you buy a hat and it connects to the wallet or the account you've already made on HIGHER.ZIP, or it goes the other way around where like we have like some number of hats in an event that have a smart wallet HIGHER.ZIP account already there, and they buy the hat, they can take the hat to their computer and be like, now I'm going to log into HIGHER.ZIP and it's all connected for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's reminding me of IYK.
Yep.
I think they have some flow there where it's like the dirty word, but the digital, like kind of provisions digital access away. And so I feel like the merch would need to be chipped with one of those. And I think that they have like a flow where you tap it and then it kind of goes to some sort of like access gated situation where like either a wallet can be provisioned or like you're logged in even without a wallet.
It's true. Yeah, they have done it. I have some of those chips here actually. I bought some just to see. I never used them, but it does seem like they have a very simple, functional workflow. So there's probably something to be gleaned from what they're doing.
Yeah, and then if like into the merge cost we factor in the chip cost, which I think is non-negligible. I think that they're on the order of like dollars per chip, maybe up to like $10 or $20. I forget. Last time I looked, maybe they've scaled it and lowered the cost now. But like, yeah, I feel like that would be the way. Rolling our own is like competing against a venture-backed startup to roll out a solution that's like pretty tough.
They probably, I think the two things that you'd want are like, one, well, I think the chip has to be, no, I don't know what I'm saying. It's like some of the hats you'd want to have a preloaded wallet, and some of the hats you would want to be able to pair to a wallet that already exists. And they feel like two different flows.
Yeah, that's the difficult part. Like the fact that wallets already exist is the hard part. I feel like, if nobody had wallets and you were just starting fresh with a smart wallet, that's easy. But when you consider tailoring to both kind of sets of people, that's where it gets convoluted.
Well, I think you could get people, I think, within the current Hire community to make a new smart wallet on the HIGHER.ZIP website if they wanted an account. I think people would go through that process, especially if it was like you need a HIGHER.ZIP account to get these fees. Like that would be something people do.
Fair. Yeah, I mean, I did that on Zora, and I didn't complain really. I complained at first, but then I made another account and was like, "Oh, it's great having a smart wallet." I think you're right. And maybe the wording of calling it a smart wallet versus just an account. You know, you need to make an account, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can have money on there, on your account. And you can send it to your Rainbow wallet if you want it gone.
Yep.
Yeah, that helps me actually. That kind of helps me a lot.
Yep.
So would you just approach it that way as if we're stepping back as far as considering structure, even outside of the physical aspect for now, would we just start doing that? You need to make an account to chat on HIGHER.ZIP or receive anything on HIGHER.ZIP, and that's a smart wallet.
Yeah.
I missed the beginning part of the convo, but that sounds like the move to me.
Yeah. Would you say, Cam?
Yeah, I mean, that would definitely work. It really is about kind of turning outward, I guess, an approach versus like turning to crypto. So it'd be a big shift, but
Right. Like, is that a mistake? You know, like, because our only hire is all crypto currently. So it's like turning away the people that, and maybe that's a dramatic way to look at it, turning away. It's like, no, you can still come by. You just sign in. I don't know. Or
I think you can link wallets to an account.
Yeah.
That probably helps.
yeah.
And then we could say, okay, you need to make an account to get the fees, but if you want to mint through the frame with your Farcaster account, as long as that's connected to your HIGHER.ZIP thing, we're going to count that as a mint. We're going to count that as work within the curation of the culture. And therefore, we're able to give you an entitlement of fees because you're contributing.
Yeah, that makes sense. That simplifies, at least mentally.
definitely.
How crazy is that, Cam?
What?
The smart wallet implementation.
Well, so there's two, I guess there's three categories of wallet. There's hosted wallets, there's smart wallets, and then there's self-custody wallets. So we're all on self-custody wallets. Base app uses smart wallets, which is like you have like one address and then you can link multiple addresses to like authorize on that address. And then there's hosted wallets, which are just like, okay, here's like a wallet that is like managed by Privy. And so smart wallets are really hard.
Okay.
User owned wallets or like self-custodial wallets are easy, and hosted wallets are easy. So I would say we should probably just go with hosted wallets and then have the ability to just link a self-custodial wallet to it.
You can link to a hosted wallet.
Yeah, and by link I mean like that could be something in our database that's like, these are all the wallets that we associate with this account.
Right.
Yeah.
And would it? So, what's the risk profile of a hosted wallet? Like, could we, in theory, could we say you never have to risk any of your assets? You don't have to put anything in your hosted wallet or your HIGHER.ZIP wallet. It's just the wallet that we're going to be associating to your dirty word digitals, and where we're going to send fees, and you can just move them out there if you want.
Yeah, I mean, that's totally reasonable. Like, like, do we expect users to deposit into that? No, not necessarily. I don't think. Do we deposit into that? I think it makes it easy for us because then we can also deposit into all the non-self-custodial wallet community that is onboarded. So yeah, that makes sense.
What is the, sorry, I threw too many questions at once, but what is the risk? Why don't people what is a hosted wallet versus a self-custodial wallet, basically?
Yeah, it means that Privy owns the keys. Privy has a database with all the keys in them. And so if Privy were to get hacked, you would lose your, they're a single point of failure. If we stop paying our Privy bill, that means that they might say you got to pay your bill to access your accounts, or allow users to access their accounts. So there are some sort of cost lock-ins that we take on by using a solution like that. Yeah, but I mean, I think that we can get a couple thousand accounts for free as part of their sort of starter plan, but it will get more expensive as I think when we were using Magic Link 3-4 years ago at Cent, it was I want to say 5 cents per active user per month after the free tier. And the free tier got us to 5,000 free users. So it's we can do well within the free tier. But if we're aiming for broad distribution and not really making money off of those users, then it could start to add up over time. Yeah.
What does Zora use?
I think he's Privy.
Seems like Privy, yeah.
So those would be hosted wallets?
Yeah. Although I can log in with my self-custodial wallet and it'll just open the same account as if I log in via email on my phone. So it is connected.
Yeah. Same, yeah.
I think when I started my Zora account, it was with the self-custodial wallet, and it wasn't until they adopted Privy that they asked me for an email at all or anything like that.
Yeah. Same.
I'm interested with FWB, Ryan, how many people do you think were owning the token to be part of the thing, and how many people were just speculating? Was there any idea of how much of that was speculation, how much that was people wanting to actually be part of the thing?
That's a good question. I have no idea how they would even, in FWB's case, how they would even calculate that. Maybe active users on the Discord versus token holders or something like that, and just see what the difference of that is. Although the aspect of the chat of the Discord is there'll be people in there, admittedly myself, that sometimes would be lurking rather than actually sending chats in, or very few times sending chats in. So yeah, I guess because of the nature of the Discord channel, I imagine that might be a little hard to calculate exactly. Although I do know that people who were I guess employed by them sometimes would get paid in FWB tokens. And for example, for my case with FWB was always I'll have I hold the amount of FWB coins that is required for me to have membership, but very few times will I go over that limit and then like sell any extra that I have or like trade the extra that I have. Personally, I didn't do that, but I think that there were people who did that.
I asked that question because I'm wondering in regards to like how many privy wallets we'd be making and stuff like that. Like if who the target audience of like this HIGHER.ZIP platform is anyway. Like if it's if the target audience is just people who want to actually contribute to the network and they have to actually be actively creating or actively collecting or actively attending events in order to get fees, then maybe there's a number of people who just will be like, I'm just gonna hold the token. I can see that they're doing shit and it looks cool and I tune into some streams, but I'm not gonna like get involved in that whole thing. Like I'm sure there are people who hold Zora without creating on Zora. So I don't know if that stops people from making privy HIGHER.ZIP accounts, but it's interesting to me to think about.
Yeah, that is interesting because there's definitely, I mean, that's the whole aspect of, or that's one of the things, right? Is that you could trade the coin because it's on a free market. You could trade it and not even have a HIGHER.ZIP account at all. It'd just be trading higher, you know? And I think that happened with Unlonely once. They had released this Vibes coin for the live stream, and everyone was at the or the majority of people were watching the live stream as the announcements for launching the coin were in the chat of the live stream. But then there was this guy Shoni, not to call him out, sorry to call you out by name. He was in another live stream that was inactive, trading Vibes tokens. And all of that activity wasn't in the main one. So no one really saw what he was doing until he like sold a bag, you know, and like boom. And then everyone sees the chart on the active live stream and is like, why did the price just dump? And then obviously it's an open market, so you can go and see the transaction or whatever. And it was revealed instantly, but like he was doing stuff with this Vibes token outside of the context of what like the company Unlonely was like trying to get us to look at. Which I found smart. That's a smart move. He pulled a fast one on us, you know.
It's fucking genius.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see that as a negative. Of course, literally our only revenue structure right now is based on people trading the coin. So it's like great.
Yeah, I'm wondering if I feel like priority wise, we should focus on supporting what's already happening and making it easy for more people to do that and earn money at the same time as supporting the culture and the token health in general. So like doing an NFT project and not building out any of this pretty stuff. And just letting people like maybe sell custodial wallets and we can still reward them with fees stuff if they take part in like the NFT minting, creating, curation thing. That seems like a good thing to do in the near term. And then if we then move into, okay, we want to do like events and we want to slightly start focusing on people who are outside of this culture, maybe invite them to start creating and start curating and be part of like this decentralized studio, then we can work on that.
I think that makes sense. I think that there's like in the next couple months, there's like kind of a clear opportunity to establish ourselves as this like minting platform, and just kind of tap our roots before we kind of go and spread our wings. Just build like hometown momentum, so to speak.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I think we think big, but sometimes put the cart before the horse. You're right. So what does that bring us to talking about the minting platform.
Yeah.
I think for me, I've begun to think about it in terms of like, it's the minting platform is supporting people to do what they're already doing, and in like in a way that supports the token that they enjoy and the culture that they're part of. So it's like the North Star. In my mind, there's how do we reward people liquidity whilst creating or collecting?
Say more.
They come together. If you're just, and we make it so they come together by taking the percentage fee on every mint. So only creators that are getting mints are being rewarded, and all curators, collectors are being rewarded.
The higher rebate program.
Yeah, in a way, like, yeah. So like, yeah, what I put in the chat was like 50-50, where we could do 50 goes to the creator, and then 25 goes to governance treasury, and 25 goes to another liquidity pool that's just continually being deepened alongside the already existing Clanker pool. Imagining that we were to launch on Clanker.
Yeah. This model is dependent on the idea that the creator is benefiting from distribution.
They're benefiting from distribution, and they're also just signaling alignment. It's kind of like,
yeah,
I don't know. It's kind of, to me, it has more of a, I'm going to my local cafe because I like the guys there. I'm not going to my local cafe to, blow up right now. It's like who I like the people I meet there, as opposed to this is the best thing for me. There's like unquantifiable benefit to being part of this community. And we're also trying at the same time say there is some quantifiable benefit, but I don't imagine it would be huge at the beginning.
Right. But also there is quantifiable opportunity with regard to the fact that current NFT platforms are an enormous fee. So whoever Betterment uses, Toady Hawk was telling me that they had to negotiate the fee down to 10%. So you're incentivized to use our minting platform if our fee is way lower than that, even if you're, doesn't matter where the fees go necessarily. Like, you know what I mean?
That is an alternate direction, yeah.
Well, I think both of those can exist at the same time, right? Like I can be incentivized to use our HIGHER.ZIP platform because the fee is only 5% versus 20, and maybe the numbers work out there somehow. I'm not going to do that right now, but I don't know if that's a distraction from your point, but
yeah, I guess I was thinking more in terms of like, oh, these are higher creators who are coming to be part of a scene, so they're minting on the platform that supports the higher token's health,
right?
As opposed to this is a creator looking for the best place to mint whatever collection they have. Because I guess there's we could do it like that, but then maybe I don't know what people are going to be minting on the HIGHER.ZIP website. It could be anything, and that's okay, I guess, in a certain vision of the world.
Because it already could be anything, right? Theoretically.
It already could be anything, theoretically, yeah.
The network is small enough to where I feel like it will probably be more curated or focused, I guess you could say. But in theory, you know, I could just mint a picture of my bush can and whatever. Not that I would, but.
So yeah, the other thing I think we'd probably worth focusing on ERC 721s as opposed to ERC 1155s, just because that seems to be what people like, and there's still a lot of range in that. People can have like 12 pictures of their dustbins, and that could be a collection.
What do you guys think about a model where we, instead of like, okay, so there's two places that we could charge. We could charge on mint, like to list it in the, we could charge on sale or we could charge on mint, right? So as like a counter spam measure, we could say it's going to be $1 for whatever, every NFT that you list on this. So that kind of keeps the quality bar high. But if you stake higher, that basically goes to 0 or something like that. So it kind of encourages people to, you know, yeah, kind of hold and stake higher for the long term so that they don't incur that. But, you know, so some combination of those things.
I think that's a good idea. I think that in combination with a fee on sale sounds good to me, in terms of like, you do keep that quality bar for people actually minting stuff.
Scans.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I think it's genius.
That would be dope, yeah.
It seems like yeah, absolutely. Why not?
The only other thing to consider would be if there was no fee to mint anything, or you just paid what it costs to mint something on chain anyway, and then we were giving out fees to collectors, then in theory you have like an audience of people that a creator could go, oh, I can actually make some money off this thing, because if I create ERC 721 collection that people like, and it doesn't cost me anything to make it, or only cost me what it would cost elsewhere to make it, then there's already these people who are ready to collect. Like they actually want to collect because they are going to be earning these points or whatever.
Yes. Well, how does that collector reward work? What's the incentive there?
I think the idea would be that we're incentivizing people to curate higher culture, and therefore what they mint matters. And if they're minting, you'd have to qualify it somehow. So minting the most collected thing that month, or the most collected in that week, or the things from creators who are the most collected.
This is a tough one, because then that invites in the bots. You know, any attempt to kind of quantify quality quickly becomes an eroding source of truth. But I respect the intent a lot. It's been tried so many times, it's so hard.
I think in my first version of this was for ERC 1155 collections, and it was 50-50. So in my mind, I was like, oh, if someone wants to mint some rubbish and bot it, and we're getting 50% of that anyway, like 50% that's going to higher. So like, welcome the bots, like, it doesn't really matter. And then maybe you give like, I mean, you got convoluted in my head, but maybe you give like additional curator weight to people who have staked higher, and then it's like, okay, this kind of shows you that maybe the bots have like max minted something because they want some fees, but actually here what higher community members are hinting.
Well, like think about like, okay, there's the type of person who might want to create that doesn't own higher. And then there's the person that like already does, right? And I think that and wants to create. And I feel like the hat recipient is going to be maybe the type of person that would be like open to creating, but they don't have any. And so if we give them the hat and the hat gives them a wallet and the wallet has higher in it, like maybe it is that you don't even need to stake it. It's just that you need to kind of hold it in your wallet and then the fees go down. So it's like the type of new person that we would onboard gets the higher sort of batteries included with their wallet. They don't have to think about it. They've already been kind of like human vetted, so to speak. And they can just go and mint without fees or like, no upfront cost. Maybe there's still sale fees. But for like a crypto native or like the person who has a wallet already and like wants to be involved, it's like, okay, like scoop some nominal amount and you're good. I think that there's kind of like different approaches for different types of creators, crypto native versus not.
Could you do the hat comes with an NFT, and if you hold both the NFT and that amount of higher in the wallet, then the fees are 0. So it's like already existing higher holders are right to all right, buy this hat and the fees are gone. Or the other way around, where they get the hat and the higher in like a one bundle.
I have to look into how IYK works. I don't know if like the wallet's created in advance or if it's like when they go and because I know that like when you get it, isn't there kind of like a registration process for like the first time where you tap it and then you go through some flow?
Yeah.
I don't know if like the wallet is already set up before then so that we could like preload it. I imagine it is because the whole physical thing is that the physical comes with the digital out the gate. But yeah, I'd have to look into that and see.
I'm looking at it right now.
But is there any model for the NFT thing that stands out as like, this is a terrible idea, or this is a good idea, or I wouldn't do that, I would do this, with the intention of the platform being one to to be twofold, basically. One, to have a place where higher culture is curated, and 2, to have a place where people who are curating higher culture are also contributing to the health of the token, which gives them an entitlement to fees.
Mm-hmm.
I think giving them entitlement to fees is tricky because if they just go and mint everything to like occupy as much of this LP as like that could be kind of like parasitic behavior, right? It's like you buy once and then you earn perpetually. So I think we should be cautious about that. But if it's like buy once and yeah, I think that's the only thing I'd kind of have pause on, but I think everything else sounds good.
Yeah, one of the things that was in my mind to maybe guard against that would be you'd have to stake higher to be entitled to the fees. So staking higher gives you that first points boost, and then it's the things that you mint after that that take you over the threshold to earn fees. And the more you mint, the higher you are above the threshold, the higher portion of fees that you're entitled to.
Do you think that fees are revocable though?
What do you mean?
Like say that you're entitled to 1% of the fees generated. Is that a revocable privilege? That like something that can go away if you like unstake your higher? Like how do you think about that?
Yeah, I would think so. I think if you unstake your higher, you're entitlement goes to 0. And if you're, I've played with both the idea of points being decayable, so they decay over the course of a year, or you just have this continual leaderboard of like whoever's basically spent the most money curating higher culture is the highest earner of fees. But I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, there's pros and cons to both.
I think it maybe depends on the, stepping back 1 second, depends on the framing of like curation or growth. I maybe was thinking about it more so from a growth perspective, in a way to reward people in the higher network, meaning, you know, we benefit from more people minting on the platform beyond the idea of curation. Maybe paired with staking, if we are approaching that kind of pool reward thing, whereas like if I stake my higher, I want as many people minting on that platform as possible, right? So I'm being rewarded. And if we gate things with you know, you need higher to mint, you need this to mint, yada yada, then I mean that sort of depletes the potential from a growth perspective.
In my mind, staking higher is access to minting without fees, and minting without a cost to mint, without $1. It costs $0 to mint.
Okay.
And also potential entitlement fees.
I don't struggle with that.
So anyone can still create, but they have to pay a fee to mint, and anyone can still collect, but they might not get fees, or they're not going to get an entitlement fees.
I like it because, you know, like I said earlier, people are used to paying fees for minting already, kind of egregious fees. So it's not like we're introducing something new for the creator. All, I guess, from that perspective, all we're doing is introducing something new for higher holders, and I think that's a win.
So you go onto this platform, you're a creator. You go onto this platform, you're a creator, you see, oh, it's going to cost me X number of dollars to mint a collection of this size. It says stake X amount of higher, and it becomes 0. Like, oh shit, I have higher, I'm going to stake it. Or you say, I'm going to go buy higher. And then if you don't, and then if you're yeah, I think there's
That makes sense.
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm now thinking about if there's different rewards for creators versus collectors. So there's an aspect to curation that is, I'm actually creating collections that people want to mint. I'm part of curating high culture through what I create. And then there's an aspect to curation, which is I'm minting what I like, or I'm buying what I like, or I'm collecting what I like. Is the main kind of thing, and then we hope in some way that like people will be minting tokens for 2 main reasons. 1, because they like what they can mint, and 2, because they own higher and they want to be rewarded for curating the culture, and they'll get that through fees. So that then
in that scenario, it's the collector also staking.
So the collector would stake higher if they want to be able to, if they want access to entitlement for fees for their collection curation.
Okay.
They're basically saying, I'm part of the higher community. This is my proof of being part of the community. This is my proof of community member. And on top of that, you can see that I'm actually contributing because I'm curating through what I mint.
Sure. Yeah, I don't struggle with that. I suppose it's simpler from the creator side, in my opinion, at least mentally for me. From the collector side, I guess I don't fully understand. I understand the structure. I guess I don't fully understand or have an idea on the actual implementation or how to quantify that.
Maybe I'm in my mind, I imagine the flow of like, oh, someone comes onto the HIGHER.ZIP website and it says like become a curator and it says stake X number of higher. And it's a little explanation of like, you get this number of fees, your entitlement to fees is based on points. You get this number of points per, we're going to decide how to reward collectors, and you get this number of points based on however we decide to reward creators. And they're maybe more difficult questions. The more difficult questions are like, how many points is having a collection that was minted 100 times worth, or having a sold out collection of 10 worth? Or how much is it based on how much you sold those NFTs for? Is it based on how much your collection led to collected for the pool? Like, how do you quantify what each action of curation is worth, whether that's creating something that people want to buy or buying something that you want to say is higher?
It sounds like a DAO, basically. Like someone who, like, I mean, if the community at large is the DAO, then as the community, we would have to assign rewards to certain things. How many, how much rewards do certain actions get, I guess.
Yeah. And that's why I kind of wanted to go the direction of saying like, oh, this was the top minute thing this month, because then you could say, actually, it was collectively decided what was worth the points that month. Everyone was minting this collection, and therefore those are the people who earn fees, rather than us saying this is worth that amount, that is worth that amount. We're kind of like, there's some maths that goes into, oh look, this is what the crowd was doing, or this is what people were curating as a whole, and therefore that is what's worth the rewards that month. And hopefully the staking higher would prevent people from botting it to fuck, but who knows?
Mm-hmm. Or charging for each mint, right? If the mint's not free, then it probably mitigates bot activity.
I've toyed with this with a trust layer for a long time in my head. It's not like so there's permissionless, which is like anyone can kind of come in and do it, right? But then you open up your surface area to bots and everything kind of, and being permissionless, you kind of lose the trust of the community potentially, right? And so I am interested in considering like how we feel about an invite only system where it's like each of us gets like one invite is like linear growth, and that's very constrained, but very interesting. 2 invites is then exponential, right? Because everyone gets 2, and then they kind of, there's a path to, progressively kind of like onboarding the world. But the idea being like, okay, everyone is responsible for bringing in people that they trust. Maybe there's some consequence there if you onboard someone that is like identified as bad, right? Like that's like a slashing thing that gets decided by governance. But then like also, so okay, you have a community of trusted people, so you feel like this is safe, like we can rely on this for not just if they spend money, but actually if they just vote on things, period, right? Like, you know, it's not like some person just getting a bot getting a bunch of hire and like dollar bribing the outcome, right? I think that something like that could dovetail nicely with these IRL activations that we're considering, where there is that trust layer because it's IRL. So all that's to say, I think in my head, like the answer to curation and rewards is not like dollars spent on a permissionless thing, right? It's some combination of maybe it's dollars spent, maybe it's a permission like invite curation system, but people can still mint regardless, right? Like, because yeah, I think we have an opportunity here to like create a really high signal community that feels like this isn't just going to be something that gets botted to hell, you know, because that happens like every time with like DeFi farmers.
Is this the invite system? It's compelling, by the way. Is that specifically for creators or for collectors as well?
I think it should be tied to wherever you're planning on having rewards attached to, right? So if the rewards are attached to the top curators, right, then the role of being a curator should be something that isn't just open to everyone. It should be something that, so it depends on kind of like where we want to attach the rewards. If it's both, then both. If it's just creation, then that, right? That's kind of how I would think of it.
Yeah, that's well said. It makes me start to think that the kind of trust system may be most successful from the creator side more so than it makes me think about art blocks, right? Like anybody can mint art blocks. Yeah, there's pre-sales for, you know, specific individuals, but it goes to the public. But the creator is where the curation begins. Like you pick Jack Butcher because you know he's gonna drop some fucking heat, and then you're not restricting the amount of people that can mint Jack Butcher's work, so that ideally he still sells a shit ton. I guess, well, all that to say that the collector side being curating collectors doesn't seem to be good for the creator. Maybe I understand that it's trying to incentivize people to collect, but it could backfire at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that the main reason to reward collectors would have been to say, it would be twofold. One, to say thank you for curating, but then that it may not be real curation. And then the other side being to incentivize people to collect. So if we dropped the collector rewards entirely and just focused on the creator rewards, then just curation becomes more important, basically. But if we're doing this one person at a time. That's an interesting thing to.
Even more radical thing to think about, and I'm sorry for introducing it, but we're talking about like having rewards as like a supplement on top of spending money, right? And potentially in creating. We could rethink this exchange of value process between creators and collectors, where right now it's like think about like, why do you mint something in the first place, right? You want to, like for Chatra's thing, like I appreciate the art, but like what is the intrinsic value there? I don't know. I want to support Chatra, right? And so if like hypothetical, right? Minting is not actually, like collecting is not open to everybody, but it's permissioned, but it's free. So you collect for free and you're a node in this. And then what that does is it gives Chatra recognition off the bat. It doesn't give them money because you're not paying, but then we direct our reward stream to Chatra, right? Our fee pool, like they get the entitlement to fee. So there's a model here that could also work where it's actually not about paying to mint, it's about paying to signal value, which then we kind of like reward them for. So again, I know it's like non-standard approach to NFT minting and creating, but we have to remember that like if we're kind of being endowed with this fee stream, like we can think of that as the reward layer on top of transactions, or we could think of that as just the reward layer. And there isn't necessarily a transaction. The only transaction is endorsement, right? I endorse this, I endorse that. Based on all these endorsements, these are where the rewards from the LP go. So another model to consider. Sorry.
Yeah. That's compelling too.
That is compelling, yeah.
If you're going for curated, that approach is compelling if the numbers work, right?
Yeah, I think that is super cool. I think there's some like streaming thing that exists out there. I think higher people are in it. It was streaming higher fees or streaming higher to people. And it sounds similar to that. I think that this particular model where people are creating and you're kind of like endowing you're like showing your support by saying, I get an NFT because I think this NFT is cool, but I also am supporting someone at the same time. I think I like that a lot. My worry then, though, is that the part of why we wanted to create a product was the possibility of accumulating some sort of ETH treasury to run events, to do more IRL activation stuff, which I think I personally think, even if it takes us a long time to get there, or it takes us longer than it takes us to get the NFT product out to get to doing IRL events, I think IRL events for hire will be really powerful stuff.
I agree.
Would you ever allow both of these approaches to exist side by side? So we have public and curated, right? So from your perspective, John, we can still generate revenue in a permissionless way because we do need to make some fucking money. Even just to pay for the streaming software monthly, we need to make some money. But then we have this approach that you're talking about, Cam, side by side. That's maybe like a monthly, bi-weekly, monthly curated thing that is free, maybe. Even if it's not, I don't know.
Well, sponsored by us, it would be hypothetically I guess I would view it as a little bit as a magazine. this is the person who is minting this month, right? Like
Yeah.
something like that.
Exactly. And then you have, on OpenSea, it's like trending collections.
Exactly.
It's like, it's not trending collections. It's like curated collections.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then below that or whatever, I don't know if it's a different page or whatnot. It's like
Everyone's mints or something.
Yeah. Public. Like mint your shit here, costs $1. Buy this, costs $1. Yada yada. Maybe.
There's also something that we've seen a lot with NFTs, which is like it is for sale, but also for free. Like the creator mints to themselves and they have like a certain number that goes to people. Instead of that model, it could be that like it is still for sale, but if you're actually like sort of onboarded as one of these members, maybe you can collect it for free or at a discount or something like that, right? There is that aspect too. Because I know that we talked about like staking higher. I don't know. Yeah, sorry to explode the design surface for incentives, but
I love it.
No, I think this is cool. So it's almost like we're curating the people who can curate the featured section.
Yeah. But the stuff we
and
want
we're-
to display. Sorry, go ahead.
And we're letting only a curated number of people expand the number of people who can curate that feature section. I wonder if one of the potential issues of like having it be one by one is that you give your invite to someone who's interested, does the whole onboarding, uses up the invite, and then doesn't really take part. It's like I did it for a bit and then I kind of just didn't do it anymore. The question is, how quickly does either you make it so that the invites refresh at a rate that's like, okay, we can keep it going. But in my mind, I was also thinking, well, maybe you could make it so like, actually it's a link that goes out to people. You can share the link and it's like, you connect your wallet that has however many amount of higher and you can buy the hat. And buying the hat is like, now you've got the hat, now you're part of you're a creative director. And that is just a layer of investment that like means that actually you can spam out their invite to people you think would be cool, but it's just kind of the first person who actually puts up the $1 to buy the hat becomes a creative director, and then they've kind of put down some capital or there's some psychological investment. It's like, oh, I actually want to do this. Like I actually want to help curate this culture, so I'm going to throw $50 at this special NFC hat.
That's compelling.
I liked everything except spam out the link because then it's like information flows to capital and capital seekers, right? So someone will see that, they'll become a member, they'll farm, and maybe they'll invite a bunch of other farm accounts, right? I think it's like the leaky bucket, right? You have to be very careful about like preventing the leak, because once the leak starts, it's like it's really hard to like we see it with Farcaster, right?
Yeah.
Like Farcaster started with like this very credible sort of like OG Ethereum cypherpunk decentralization culture, and like now it's like there's no getting back to that because it's trading, it's farmers, it's like it's not great, right? It's kind of a one-way process, and so I think if we can have, I like the idea of like maybe you get like one invite per week or something like that. It just keeps like refreshing, so it's not like you used it and it's gone and now it's dead energy.
Well, go ahead. Sorry.
So on that, like, it could either refresh every week, in which case you kind of hope for. I think you still open yourself up to, okay, we're gonna have like some guys just gonna continually add more of their, farmer friends or farmer wallets or whatever it is. If you had it like it only refreshes once per year, and then once per year, and maybe there's a cap. Maybe we say there's only going to be 2,000 of these. So,
yeah,
I mean, and then if you start with people, and there may be some kind of like, you kind of give people instructions about their invites, like, be careful with this shit. This is like an atomic invite. It's like there's only 2,000 of these, and if one person, you only need one person to invite their own wallet,
Right.
and then they can just continually invite their own wallets and fill up 2,000.
Right.
that's why I think I like the hat idea, John, and maybe it's $100 hat. It's $100 hat, and this is strictly from the curation creative director approach, not all encompassing, but the hat doesn't allow you don't make money off the hat. The hat allows you to either mint the curated mints and or just curate in general. Like you bought this hat because you fuck with the higher community. It doesn't pay you. You do not make your money back, but you have a seat. You have a driver's seat now to kind of influence
Where fees go.
Or even if it's just from an art perspective. Like maybe it has nothing to do with money at all, and that's how you circumvent any of this bot activity. It's like this just allows you to throw your hat in the ring, if you will. Yeah, and it touches on what you talked about, like the idea of some things can be valuable solely from the perspective of you're invested in the success of this network and nothing further than that. It's like, I fuck with Higher. I have this hat. Anybody can have it. If you pay for it, you can have it, but it can't be gamified. I mean, probably still could, but it's like the chances are very, very small.
Could also be like a reveal, right? Like we do the hat. We don't say what's going to be attached to the hat. But like once it's minted out and distributed, then we're like, oh, by the way.
Oh, by the way.
All hat owners are now this too, if they want to be.
Yeah, that is fun, but I like the idea of the supply of hats being endless. Like it is decentralized in that way. Like anybody can be a creative director, but like who's going to buy $100 hat that says hire creative director if they don't really fuck with it, like you're not going to, and $100 is a random number, maybe it's more affordable.
We know where you live because we shipped it to you, so we'll show up at your house.
Hey.
Well, and like I don't know what the bot opportunity would be in this scenario. It's like, no, I want to play.
Yeah, it would be. I think the bot opportunity only arises. I think we can't. I think that we can't let go of the fees entirely, because I think that the idea is that we don't want to have, or we shouldn't be the sole receivers of the fees from a liquidity pool. But it's just how do we distribute those fees? And I think it makes sense to have some barrier to entry and also some proof of work done. So the $100 hat is a barrier to entry, and curating things on a site that's kind of obscure is work done, and creating things as well is kind of work done. And I think yeah, that's all I think.
would you not lump this conversation in with the squad roles? Like the fee revenue going to the pool is fine if the people doing work are receiving from the pool and as maybe squad members.
I think that what I imagine the difference between a squad member and the curator would be is that the curator doesn't have to do, is like they just want to click some buttons. They want to click some buttons. They want to create some art. They don't want to be in hour-long calls or be thinking about systems and infrastructure. Kind of like, and the HC governance is kind of where people were like saying, all right, you want to run some real shit for real people, build some systems, like actually think some shit through. Cool, genuine Jack, you want to actually build the shit, come in. Like we've got fees for that. And actually it's going to be somewhat substantial in that you'll get this amount. Whereas the curators, I kind of imagine that it's not going to be a huge amount. I mean, it depends on the number of hats that are available. But like, I imagine the size of HC governance being like max 30, and that to be able to roll in, roll out, kind of like, all right, I'm no longer working on my thing, so I can just retire. But I can still be a curator and earn like nominal amount of fees as part of a cohort of 5,000 or something.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm just kind of getting a little rebate on things I want to collect. It's like, oh, I have like $4 to collect this month. I'm just going to, these are my 4 picks or whatever.
Could you not just still do that with squad weight though? Like currently nobody's squad weight 1, and say we did revamp the contract if migration, like squad weight 1 is curators and it's small, and then all of that seems to simplify it to me. Maybe that's not actually simpler, but in my brain it feels simpler to take all of the mechanics out of the minting platform and integrate them into the squad contract. Is that not, that doesn't resonate, huh?
I like in my head, I've just been thinking about it for a while in terms of like builders and network. And the network is like, maybe you enjoy higher shit and you want to wear it, and it reminds you that you can, I don't know, you could explore new countries or whatever you want to do. And then there's the builder culture of people who, they're kind of, they want to see higher succeed and grow. And like someone else might go on to build something that expands beyond this cohort of curators. Like maybe there will be a secondary market for the hats or something one day if all 5 or all X numbers sell out. But like, I wouldn't think about that. I would think more that even if we limit the number of people who can become curators of this product, maybe there's people in the future who will build something even bigger because they just want to see how I go further. Whereas if we try and be like an all-in-one, then everybody would just be diluted no matter how big high gets. Whereas in this,
it reminded me of the creative partner motif that we used in the intro video or the like explainer video, where like you could be a creative and you could be a partner, and you can do both and be a creative partner. So you have kind of like the builders and the people who are just like either financially backing and or participating, being the partner aspect of it. I think when we came up with the term, it was kind of like anti-calling them suits, because in a creative ecosystem, both are necessary. Not only the creative is necessary, but like the financier is also, the patronage is also necessary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Fair enough. I guess all of that Yeah, I struggle with all of that comes from the perspective of me struggling with the idea of rewarding collectors in a non-gameable way. So that's where, like, okay, if they're all squad weight 1, it's like, well, we all had to vote to, get them into the squad. You can't bot really a squad role, so it's like it seems to mitigate any sort of those sort of stressors, I suppose.
I guess in my mind, we weren't even rewarding collectors anymore.
Oh, okay, even better. Yeah, I'm confused a little bit.
The way I was imagining it now is that there's 50% of fees pointed at the builder HC governance, and 50% of fees are pointed at this 1 by 1 linear growing group of curators who can mint for either free or a lessened amount on a platform that is curated by these people and offered to the public.
I see. Hat wearers.
Yeah, and then in that scenario, there's no incentive to mint what's on the platform beyond liking what the curators have made, or that's it. There's no incentive to collect anymore beyond I like this.
Why is there wait? I'm confused.
So there's so what I understood was that there would be curators that were growing 1 by 1, and these people are both creators of collections and people who are going around saying, oh, I like this, I like that, and that would be like a featured part of the page. And then there's also just public collectors who aren't curators, don't get any say in this featured bit, don't get any say in terms of where fees are entitled or what curators are entitled to fees. And they just come to the platform because maybe they see a nice creator. They mint there if they want to.
Okay, I'm understanding now.
It pushes all of the rewards into these are only going to go to people who create NFT collections. That's where it pushes rewards to. And then whether that's a good thing or not, I don't know. In my mind, could be a good thing, but it also could be a bad thing. Because I think there are people who maybe would want to, or maybe you reward people for curating as well. But they're, actually, no, yeah, you do. It's not that you're getting rid of rewards for curation. It's that only certain chosen people are getting rewards for curating.
I see.
The Jews.
What's that? Oh my god, that was amazing. Yeah, okay. I'm understanding.
But then you kind of
removing rewards from collecting makes a ton of sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's an attack vector, and then like in a trusted way, rewarding this group that creates, and that's like an amorphous group. That makes sense too. Yeah, I think it'd probably be really helpful for us to like spec it out, kind of like what we did with the perma pool.
Yeah.
But I'm in agreement with a lot of the things that are being said here. And also like just to kind of tie it back to something that Brian mentioned earlier about like a zine and what you guys said about like placement and things like that. I think that's also a really unique opportunity here. Like thinking about how stuff actually gets like showcased versus not, or how it can move up to be showcased. Like really cool opportunity to like make this role of curating really feel like something valuable. beyond just monetary.
Yeah. Agreed. Well said, by the way.
Sorry, I've been like packing. I gotta check out of this hotel in like 5 minutes. So, but I've been listening.
You're good, brother. You're
I
good.
think there is some math to do around the amount of higher stakes and the number of hat/curator places available, because you kind of want people to actually hold higher to be curators, and then you also want to leave some higher on the table for speculators to be like, okay, I'm gonna, but then you also make it harder for curators to get that higher as time goes on. So yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, would you price the hat in higher for that reason? Get in early, just like you're talking about with FWB, Brian.
Yeah.
You're here early, you fuck with it. The hat is like $25 and higher. In a year, is it $1,000 hat?
Right.
I don't know if that's beneficial. I still do love the idea of anybody being able to buy the hat.
Maybe it's just a different hat.
Well, there was something it was an interesting experiment that was run where it was like a t-shirt that was like $10,000, but like depending on like how vouched you were, like it could go down to $20. You know what I mean? Or it's like sure, there's a sticker price, and if you really want it and you don't know anyone, you can pay the sticker price. But if you kind of make an effort, build credibility, like there's a process for like community pricing to kind of like kick in, and
it's very cabal.
That's awesome.
I love the idea though.
Yeah, that's a sick idea. I love that.
Because it's like, who's gonna pay $1,000 to like join a community? It's gonna be like the Bored Ape Mafia, and
Right.
like nobody wants that.
Yeah, it's almost like you're more than welcome to, I guess, but like there's this other way to do it where it's like sweat equity, I guess.
Yeah. Fellas, I gotta bounce, but I think we should get a Google Doc going.
Yeah, we need to. All right, brother. Well, good. Safe travels, man.
Thanks, also, guys. I have some questions to ask you about the styling of the chat, but we could do that offline as well.
Yeah. Let's talk about that in Telegram.
Safe travels, my dude.
This is good conversation.
Big conversation. Yeah.
And I love it because it still aligns with kind of what our HZ goals have been since the start, which is a platform for showcasing and broadcasting, higher works. So it's great in that lane. I do think we owe it to ourselves and the rest of the community to ensure profitability as much as we can and avoid outthinking profit.
Yeah.
Because it's been 2 years of hire and nobody's made any fucking money yet. And we need to make money. And if it's not coming from trading fees in a sustainable manner, we have to lock something down. And I think all of what we've talked about today, I'm not saying that what we've talked about is anti-profit, but I think that should be one of the pillars here for sure.
Yeah, I mean, as we were talking about it, and this is my fault, not because what we were talking about was boring, but like my mind drifted off into that is like the path to profitability. And like and I think this goes also for like all the ideas we've had. It's almost as if like, yes to all of them, except there is like a narrative path between like, yeah, we want this kind of chat. Yeah, we want to be able to airdrop everyone who's watching in a moment. Yeah, we want to be able to mint NFTs. Yeah, we want to be able to also sell product. Like, it's almost like yes to all of them. But I guess what my mind tends to gravitate towards is like, what is the narrative through line of all of those features being released over time, right? Like the chat feature, right? Is that the first thing out of all these things that we're doing, or is the minting NFTs the first thing? Not that first or second or third signifies any type of importance at all. It's just kind of like in the effort. The reason I thought about that in the effort of profitability is like, which of these can come out the fastest, I guess you could say. There's the time vector being there, being like, we can make the idea as big, and we will make the idea as big as possible.
Yep. I
So,
agree.
yeah.
I think that's a good framework. I think you kind of we have to weigh things like that, in my opinion. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
or fortunately, I mean, it's not a bad thing.
No, it's not. It's a necessary growth of a collective. Like,
Right.
every collective that's ever has existed has had to go through this, right? Like,
Right.
the thing that we need to really, I guess, worship is I don't even know how to put it, like the niche aspect of Higher as a collective, preserving that as long as possible. But that doesn't mean we have to be anti-profit to do that. So it's really like worshiping the higher God while still being like, this does need money to continue,
Right. And in a perfect world, if you've built something that's profitable, there's eyes there, right?
Yeah.
There's users, there's, say we built OpenSea.
Right.
It's like, oh yeah, but it's higher C, and all you see when you first show up is the stuff we've curated from the network. It's like, well, great. I think you've done both things. You've broadcasted the network, curated it in a way that you find beautiful, and two, made some fucking money along the way. And with trading volume so low right now, it's like we gotta have that in mind. I don't want to be driven by profit, obviously, and we're not going to be. We never have been. Nobody in Higher ever has been, and I don't think anybody wants to be. But to your point, walking that line is, we don't have enough fees to where, we can pay people. We can't pay ourselves. We can't pay curated artists. We can't pay anybody, So if we can build a platform that people spend money on, it just seems to make so much sense.
Yeah.
It's obvious, but go ahead.
That was this was one of the reasons why rewarding collectors, even if it was going to get botted, was attractive.
Attention, volume.
Yeah, because you make it, and if it say it was like you had to mint the top post, and the top post also the creator of the top post was also rewarded, then in theory, if you have Cactus Lockwood HP Chrome has sold 100 pieces at whatever amount, and you could also have a farmer competing with that, and their volume, their sales, and their creation is all artificial, but it's just competing against something so organic, and both lead to profit. I don't really like that, but it is what I think was behind my thinking in that
Mhm.
time.
It's not, you're not wrong to think like in that way, by the way. It makes sense. It definitely makes sense. It's the framing of, and I keep coming back to this after mentioned earlier, but the framing of like art blocks to me is starting to become like say art blocks exists as is, but it's also a platform where I can mint my own shit for the lowest fees. You know, it's like that's a banger. You know that
They have that.
do they?
They have Art Blocks Curated, which is their curated platform, and they have Art Blocks Playground, where like anybody. Yeah.
See, I didn't even know. I thought I was being clever. That's interesting.
I mean,
and
like,
I mean, it is.
Sorry.
is there? Well, I guess that's the thing to look at then, from my perspective. Is that successful for them?
It's only successful when the artist themselves has a network that people want to mint their stuff.
On the playground you're talking about?
Yeah.
Well, actually, both of them kind of. You know, I guess the curate is also similar.
Yeah. It's true.
Because at the end of the day, like I don't, and you guys tell me to stop or shut up at any point, but like I don't want to chase like what Betterment's doing. Like they've proven to create a flywheel, but it's like it's, and I love Toady, but it's kind of soulless in the and what it says about creation. It's a little dry. I'll say dry, not soulless. And I don't know. It's lacking emotion. It doesn't feel. Long story short is I'd like to avoid kind of any of those, anything like that from that angle. Not saying any of these ideas today were that, but that would be my personal goal moving forward, is to create something beautiful, I suppose.
Yeah, or even approach it, if we're gonna do that, then like maybe make it satirical, right? Like, which then in turn makes it beautiful. You know what I mean? Like it's
Totally. If it's fun as
I
hell
totally
and that's
agree.
what people want, great.
Yeah, I agree. Like if we make a Ponzi scheme and we literally call it a Ponzi scheme, like that's the you know, the satire there. It's like we purposely made a Ponzi scheme, and like eventually this is gonna crash. Then that becomes like a satirical take on a Ponzi scheme, and in that way it's beautiful, not necessarily because by nature it is a Ponzi scheme, you know.
Sure. Oh, I get you. Well, and that's you know, what you always talk about, John, just on a personal level of intentionality.
Right.
But like chasing exactly kind of what we want, I suppose, or what we think the network deserves, I suppose.
If I think back to like why HIGHER.ZIP even exists, it's because I wanted to make Higher the token something that people like could be valuable basically to the network. And I was like, I got paid in Higher, but I had to sell it. So how could I get paid to do some stuff for Higher and not have to sell it? Well, I could get fees instead from trading. And also, if we are one day going to start paying people Higher, how do you make it so that they can like realize that value without feeling like they're dumping on all their friends at the same time, or with such volatility, where you can deepen the liquidity pool, and that kind of adds real value to the token rather than like this high market cap, low liquidity kind of volatile thing.
No, and obviously that all resonates and resonated with us. And from that angle, like if you can do that, deepen liquidity, which is, you know, the key piece to that puzzle with the NFT marketplace, you know, how deep do we need to go into NFT marketplace beyond make it profitable so that we can deepen liquidity to achieve all those things that you just mentioned? And I don't want to oversimplify it. That would be the oversimplification, is convince people to mint and buy on the platform, like hyper simple. I don't think that's enough. I don't think any of us believes that's enough, to be honest. So there's a middle ground between like hyper complex tokenization of the platform and what I just said, like sell shit online basically. And I think where we're at right now is kind of at a sweet spot, actually. Obviously some details need to be ironed, but we're close. It feels close, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that the only concern is profitability. If we went the route that we've kind of outlined, it's like, okay, why or who's going to mint this? If one were going to giving out free mints to the people who are already creating the community, so
Yeah.
that who's going to come along and mint stuff? Well, then that's the kind of question, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, let's use, so we have a perfect example to walk through right now, which is the HB4 Chrome. Obviously, Cactus and Chatra asked us if they could mint through our mini app. So it's like, if we just walk through that structure, right? This is, I don't know if this is a special case or an average case, where the creators have drummed up demand and interest on their own, and they just need somewhere to mint it. And ideally they want it to be higher aligned, which falls into, you know, what you keep mentioning, John, is like they just want it to be higher aligned regardless. It's not because it's more profitable, maybe it's less profitable, I don't know, but bad motherfuckers in the network basically. So if we're thinking on like actionable terms, for now, all we need to do is build somewhere where they can click, drag 111 images, click mint, and people can come and click buy. And it's like, that would be a success from my opinion, or from my perspective, just here and now, I suppose.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think what complicates it is the talk of upgrade and where the fees go.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, you're right.
The Clanker upgrade, you're saying, right? Yeah.
If we were to go that route, then we wouldn't want to be the sole receivers of fees, and it would be an opportunity for us to be like, network, come share in the spoils of this upgrade. Like we're gonna make it programmable that you'll earn some fees.
You could also look at it from the framing regarding the upgrade. You could also look at it from the perspective that, okay, if we built this platform to generate profit, HZ out of the gate upon upgrade could confidently take less of the fee split from the token itself. You know what I mean? So approaching it from the other angle, which is instead of all fees going to HIGHER.ZIP and we figure out how to distribute that, option 2 is figure out how to make money from an NFT platform to where we aren't as dependent on the fees from the upgrade, which allows more space for other entities to capture that value.
Yeah, I think that would be like the overall, that's kind of that would be perfect. It's like if we launched some sort of something that allowed us to basically say, look, we've automated fees going to the community for real work that curates the culture. We can now give the HC squad things to people who want to build the next thing. And this thing that we've built is also still going to power you to do stuff. That would be cool.
Yep.
But I actually think that I think the way that we thought it out so far wouldn't properly allow for that. I don't think. Unless we were taking fees on the product in perpetuity rather than sending fees to hire stuff. And then we'd kind of be saying this is well, in a way, we could do that if we were like, okay, instead of it being HC governance in the upgrade, it's now going to be higher governance. We're going to add a couple more people. There's the HC squad within that governance, and the HC squad are now going to be taking fees from the product that we're making.
Yep.
And then once we made that profitable and we're earning enough fees to say that actually we don't need to be earning fees from the HC pool anymore, we take a step back, and now you get more fees, people who are still left in the HC governance.
That seems ideal. It feels
Yeah.
It feels like an incubator of sorts. It's like
Right.
So Genuine Jack sold, well, just random numbers, sold 10 t-shirts, and he needed to sell 100 to be profitable. So he gets supplemented, the market gets supplemented, that's the wrong word, gets kickback from fees to supplement his profit. If he starts selling 10,000 shirts, the monetary value of him receiving, fee revenue is small now, so he can say, all right, I'm going to step down. And yeah, I think we're all in the same. That structure makes a lot of sense to me. Like, help you explode, help you build the thing that is profitable, and then you can leave. And like I think you said, spread your wings or whatever. You can spread your wings. And if it's something that's maybe never going to be profitable, but we see it as a public good, then great. Also cool. But I do think that's a compelling idea where like HZ is an entity inside of that. Now I'm spiraling.
I think that governance structure that HC would exist within would be like, we want to incubate profitable public goods. So the idea is that if you're going to be profitable, some of those profits are going to the HC or going to the governance pool, which is going to fund future builders. And you can also take some profits for yourself personally. But the expectation is that you've built some infrastructure that even if you're going to be able to be earning off it in perpetuity, it's also going to be contributing back to the higher culture in perpetuity. So therefore, you're allowed to take the step back out of the governance, but you're also supporting that governance to continue and be something and a place that people want to be.
Yep, that makes sense. Is that
I think the verbiage with the financialization part is tough because there is kind of like higher beasts, for example, right? Like where it was cool at first and the profitability was the profitability only becomes important as it grows, but there's kind of like the oven stage, I guess you could say, where it's like baking, where like maybe there's a safety mechanism in there that we don't even mention the word profitability at first, or maybe that's the level of incubation. Actually, maybe that's what it is like there's ideas that are like maybe start off as not profitable, and maybe those are like pre or like alpha or something, and then there's like the point in which we measure that at some point or something, and then then that being the tipping point of what we're talking about.
Right. And, not to get too far into the DAO structure stuff, but obviously it's still supported by governance. And, you know, if we can incorporate ZK voting, it's like, yeah, okay, you step in. It's like, so, you know, I love the idea. 3 months, you're on the squad. 3 months later, we'll evaluate. And if, you know, somebody else has a better idea that may be more profitable, we'll just vote on it.
Right. Yeah, I think.
But at the same time, I don't want it to be chasing profit. But it's also like we can't play around without making money forever. If we were a
Right.
300 million market cap token with,
Right.
you know, 1 million volume every day, yeah, fuck it.
Different story. Yeah.
Different story. But like, I do find it to be very higher in general, to be like, I want to do this thing. I hope the network can help me, and I'm going to give it my shot. And if it doesn't work out, I understand that. And if it does work out, I understand that I don't need to be a part of this anymore.
Right.
Yada, yada. I don't know. It kind of seems, almost feels simpler in some ways than like HIGHER.ZIP actually being the entire entity. But I don't know. I don't want to derail shit too hard.
I mean,
Now
like,
I'm just
is it really like to the extent? It feels like we have to write a constitution essentially. You know, and it has like a Bill of Rights, and then it has amendments, and that will be the job of the governance to like add amendments. You know, and then just kind of have like
Would you need to go that deep though? Like, could it be just as simple as somebody doesn't like something, they propose a vote, and vote passes or doesn't, based on who's in the overall squad?
I mean, yeah, maybe it doesn't have to be that deep, but then we also have to. I mean, I think that there's, maybe I'm being pessimistic by even saying this, but there's also the possibility of non-action.
Yeah.
Where it's like a project could be part of the squad forever if no one says anything ever. The project just sits there. You know what I mean? And it forever be getting fees because just no one has said take it off. You know, on the mere fact alone, right? So
in that scenario, though, you'd have to automate something to avoid that. I feel like,
well, yeah, that's where it starts to leak into a constitution to me. There, it's like no longer simple. Now there's like an expiration date. Okay, so then what's the expiration date? You know, who's determining that? Who's determining like 3 months is a good time, 6 months is a good, you know, like.
But I think the whole thing fails. The whole thing fails if there's inaction, right? So it's like, I think it's dead if it's so inactive that people don't even care where the fees are going anymore, which is a little bit of where we're at right now. I feel like as a higher community, it's like mostly dead because people don't really care. But if we can, the goal would be to create a scenario where people do start to give a fuck about where the fees are going, I suppose. And ideally consider themselves as somebody that should be receiving fees for X reason.
So first there has to be fees for people to try to grab at.
Right. Exactly. And so, which brings us back to the upgrade being the first catalyst, because it's not necessarily that we need fees for that. We potentially we also have a treasury for that. I don't know. This is where I start to feel stupid.
Yeah, it's tough.
It makes sense. Everything you're saying it's exactly what we have to think about, basically. That we have an upgrade. If that upgrade takes place, then we'll have more fees. Where those fees go, ideally, in my mind, they barbell between builders and community. What's a easy way to distribute fees to community to have them do something on chain and to verify that on chain and have it programmably go out to them. What's something that people are already doing that's on chain, creating and collecting NFTs.
Yeah.
And then the details of that are how collecting and creating is rewarded. That is kind of where I feel like we're in the weeds a bit, but it's for good reason, because hopefully we can stand it up once and then it can run in perpetuity. Yeah.
Sorry, I have to sneeze.
And on the governance side of things, in terms of like the constitution, my thing would always be, if there's some revenue, point some at deepening the pool. And that pool is going to point back at the governance. And it's also going to, it's going to point back at the governance, basically.
Sure. Yeah.
Or
Okay.
and some other things.
So then in terms of the upgrade, do you guys, I'm sorry if this changes the subject slightly, but is that the main driver then, is to generate fees?
It's
or
one
redistribute?
It's treasury is probably the main driver, one of the main drivers, I suppose. But thinking about this approach is maybe, I don't know if this is changing my perspective. I need to think on it more. But yeah, the main driver would be to be able to set aside a treasury, which relies on the idea that everybody that currently holds a higher token is okay with X% of dilution in their holdings. Basically what that migration would be doing is asking everybody. It's like a tax almost. It's like, are you okay with paying a 10% tax to potentially reinvigorate the network with funds? Right, John?
Yeah, and what we haven't actually talked about is we could just distribute that higher, or some percentage of that higher treasury, to collectors, and then people would be farming. But
yeah, I mean, at least as a growth technique, right? I mean, that's why.
Right.
That's what tokens are successful at doing, is
as content. Yeah, basically.
Yeah, and creating growth when you're struggling. I feel like that's an oversimplification too, but
yeah.
So where does that leave us? I mean, obviously there's more things to talk about. Should we just talk about the migration a little bit too, before I was about to jump into like, okay, what the fuck is actionable and what's important to push on now? But
yeah, it's a good question, because I would love to know what's actionable, honestly, and I think that before the meeting ends, we should definitely
I have ideas.
Lock in on that. But also, yeah, I suppose the migration is no way we're going to talking about, there's no way, I don't see us talking about what's actionable and not talking about the migration, I guess.
Agreed, because yes, for most things, I feel like the migration plays a large role in next steps, right?
Yeah. I mean, maybe I missed it. Have we publicized the thing that I think we said last call that we might, which is like a document, and have people talk about it? Oh, actually, now that I'm saying that, wasn't one possibility making a discussion on the matter on HIGHER.ZIP, the site?
Yeah, that was tossed around. I think,
and maybe with the login, maybe that's easier now. I'd have to talk to Cam about that, but
I feel, yes, but I also do feel that it can just take place in the channel for now. You know, home base,
the Farcaster channel.
Yeah, the Farcaster channels make sense to me, and then it'll leak out into all the 10 other Telegram chats. for further discussion, but no, to answer your initial question, no, we haven't published that. I think to that point, that is maybe the most actionable item
Yeah.
is,
Opening that conversation up somehow.
yeah.
I agree.
And then, yeah. I mean, Cam had wrote the fairly pared down pros and cons list a while ago, which I think is probably a good jumping off point for that conversation publicly. And I know you, John, have written in depth about kind of structure, idea.
I mean, that's all ideation. And the only reason is because we'll basically be saying to people, let's clank this shit, and so we get more fees. And then people will be like, well, where are fees going at the moment? And
right. Which,
how the fees can be distributed in the future.
Which I think both what Cam wrote up and what you wrote up kind of, it's maybe necessary that they live in tandem for that exact reason. You know, Cam's document is nice because it's like, these are the logistics. This is what it means. This is good. This is bad. What do you think? And yours is one step deeper, which is, this is what it allows us to do. This is kind of what we've been considering as a plan of approach, governance, yada, yada. So I think they kind of do exist together.
I think what I might write out is something a little bit different in terms of like what I would like to see done with the fees from a high level. Because rather than the sharing all the weeds of what we've done in terms of thinking about mechanics exactly, because I think it's quite likely that there's some big brains who will see it and be like, oh, we could just do it like this, or maybe this would be a good way to do the fees.
Yeah, I was gonna wait till you finish, but my thought is like, I think what's important as well to attach to that is like the pin of like, why couldn't we just do that now with the existing framework?
Right. Exactly.
You know, like, why do we need to migrate to a clanker to actually unlock the distribution of the fees in that way? You know, like, I think that would be important too. I mean, I'm sure people can probably deduce that, but I think that calling that out specifically in a, you know, less intellectual way, maybe.
That's what Cam's document I feel like is good for, and maybe it does need to be revised slightly, but it is like high level. This is what the benefits are. This is what the cons are. You know, expand on that as you wish. Let's chat and kind of go from there. So John, I don't know if you have time in the next few days to write that, what you just mentioned about from your perspective. That would be awesome. I'm going to write from, I think maybe we all should, and then I'm going to do that just at least for myself to compile my thoughts because they're all over the fucking place right now.
Yeah. I also have some outdated thoughts that I wrote, I think before our last call, that we like really went deep on it, which I've been meaning to update since that call but I think the document I have as it stands, it is a little bit, I suppose, anti-migration. But again, it was before we had this whole conversation about like what we could do after, or like how could we frame it. I think in my document has a little bit more of like the stance of like, which I think that we talked about many calls ago, is like treating token launches as like a child of the higher, not necessarily replacing the higher token, but like thinking of them as like product launches for certain things, like almost just think about it as like another vector of releases, right? Like maybe we could release a clanker for that literally's purpose only serves 3 months, knowing that at the end of the 3 months, like, so yeah, I do need to revise my doc. Or maybe I share as is, honestly, and we revise it together is also another option as well.
That's also another option. Yeah. I definitely default towards, and maybe to a fault sometimes, towards the absolute simplest approach. So that'll be helpful for us to like compare and contrast basically. And we can workshop that shit together, you know, see what ideas resonate, see what sounds scary. And
So
I don't know.
in the effort of sharing these ideas with the public, I guess, how do you see that? How do you want to do that, right? Like, is it a mega thread on Warpcast, or like maybe Farcaster doesn't have a character limit, does it? Is it just a really long post?
It's high. It's I think it's like 10K. I think
so
that's
maybe it's just
exactly it. Is we just posted in the
a
channel,
large one, yeah.
even linking to the documents, whatever documents we find to be pertinent.
Yeah, I think the document that Cam made is really good, and probably worth sharing. I think the documents that I've made would probably just confuse, and I'm probably better off writing something that just answers the discussion of like why Clank, and then has some questions for people to think about regarding what we do with the fees if we Clank.
That sounds super helpful, actually.
So then I suppose the action item is to write this cast and make sure that the documents we're linking in the cast are shareable.
Yeah, at the very simplest level, absolutely. I think that is important because, yeah, then we can gauge sentiment, understand if what we've been talking about for 2 months now has been a waste of time. If, just in case it is or has been, it would be nice to do that now or as soon as possible. Because if everyone's like, fuck that, it's like, all right, well, great. Now we can actually dial in a little bit more with a little bit more.
Yeah, I guess I'm curious how we would capture sentiment, right? Like, are people for or against it, and like, how would we be capturing that?
And initially, very rudimentarily. Anyways,
yeah, I think that's not so.
Just the comments, see what people are saying, and it'll obviously be the more core contributors to the higher network for sure that will have things to say. Maybe fringe folks have things to say too, but we just don't know.
Yeah, I would be curious. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, go on. The two paths are basically Clank and work out what to do with the fees, or don't Clank and continue on the same path and try to just dwarf the liquidity positions of existing until we can then have enough of the size of the pie to say, okay, we're going to distribute it here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah, it's basically like, that's a good way to look at it. That's helpful for me because the option 2 is figure out how to sell something, sell a product, make a product that people buy.
But we're doing that either way.
We are.
Right.
The question is, does the network believe that we need more of a monetary injection to be able to accomplish that? Because there's very few people, not that they don't want to, but track record shows that very few people want to work on something that is probably a long-term project without being compensated for it while working on it.
Right.
It's just the fact of the matter.
Yeah, that's just real shit. Yeah.
Yeah, and no disregard to that way of thinking either. Like, fair enough.
Yeah, that's fine.
You have no obligation to fucking work on something that doesn't make money for a long time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
we're like, we have to go back to like if I think about why am I sitting here, it's because we have this idea that higher could actually be some kind of crazy new form of brand entirely. So that's kind of what we're looking towards. Which I think is also why Clank makes sense. But
yeah,
yeah,
I'm interested to hear what you write up for that, John. I'm very intrigued, actually.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I probably need to do more research on is like because in my perfect world, we'd do an upgrade to the Ethereum mainnet. And then we'd be basically trying to put ourselves in the category of cult-like status of SPX and MOG, but with this additional layer of cultural, almost DeFi, like a cultural DeFi. It's like you can earn from being part of this culture.
That's that is actually, and I've said this obviously before, but that is really attractive to me. I love the idea of mainnet, like the purity and it almost has this air of like bravery to consider going mainnet and confidence, because like that is where the coins are. That's where the tokens are. That's where the NFTs are. That's where, I don't want to say everything, but most of the things that I consider to be valuable exist.
Yeah, and I also feel like it's a little bit punk rock and like anti-establishment, because Base has become this kind of like conglomerate now that, like, I mean,
There's
we've
something.
seen, yeah, it's like
And
anti-establishment,
also
basically.
consider that, sorry, Brian, that you can trade, mainnet tokens on Base app and Farcaster. You're not in a dungeon. Like you still have access. And also the other thing to consider that is maybe softens the blow monetarily of clanking mainnet is the fact that the treasury is one of the larger proponents of upgrading at all. And so it's almost like putting more weight on the treasury as opposed to, we need everybody to buy and sell the token for 1 cent fees a million times a day. It's like, well, we have the treasury now, and that holds more weight in a way that maybe makes mainnet possible. I feel like without a treasury, mainnet might be it's not a death sentence, but it potentially extends the timeline of exit velocity.
Part of me thinks like if we're gonna try and do this properly, and we might as well be on mainnet. Like if we're gonna fail, let's fail trying to do the actual thing.
Yeah.
Because even
go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
You.
Because even then, in my mind, I'm thinking if we clank on Base, on Dale would probably want to upgrade to mainnet anyway, or there may arise a situation where we have to kind of escape to mainnet.
And it almost feels like we're there now. It's a bit dramatic to say that at this point, but there's a inkling of that feeling, in my opinion. I'll say it for myself. It does feel like that.
It frames it a little bit more as like a growth move rather than like a emergency exit move.
Agreed. Good point.
Yeah, we're outgrowing the L2, branding, baby.
Because what we or at least what I was initially worried about, was public sentiment. And it could be something that goes incredibly negatively. Like, what happens to the chart when we post this before any action is taken? Like,
Does it dump?
does everybody dump?
Right.
Does everybody buy? And that's not, those considerations should not drive our decision as a network, the whole network's decision. But it is interesting to think about. But I love what you're saying, and I'm assuming this is how you've been viewing it all along, John. But Brian, what you said about, like, as a true upgrade, like going from base to base. The more I think about it as like hey, we're upgrading the token, but we're taxing everybody that holds it, is just like, that understanding to me is so not hot.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so not hot. John, maybe that's maybe more, what would I say? Maybe the angle of mainnet is what people need to hear from you. More so than...
Fucking be on mainnet.
Say again?
I think that shit's so cool to be like, we're on mainnet now, motherfuckers. Like, fuck that base shit. I mean, not fuck it entirely. Like,
But
you
kinda.
do your thing. But,
Yeah.
but like, we're aiming higher. Like, we want to be the premier, like, elite cypherpunk kind of culture coin. Like, Mog's based on putting other people down. Fuck that shit. SPX is all right. I kind of like SPX, but I can't. I've got nothing bad to say about SPX, to be honest. But Higher has a different. SPX is more about fuck the establishment, like, explicitly. Higher to me is more about we can be something better, and you just got to believe that.
And it is gangster, dude, yeah. to dump the token into mainnet as like smallest fish, big pond. Honestly. Sorry I cut you off there, bro.
No, I was done.
Yeah. It's
what comes after mainnet? Is it no net?
No net. Oh. No, there's nothing better than mainnet. There's nothing sexier than ETH mainnet, bro. I have a brain disease, but that's how I feel.
Me too. I mean, it's Ethereum alignment, and then I guess the only other narrative in my mind that's kind of intriguing is like the privacy L2s. But even then, I think you'd kind of want governance to take place on an L2, and then to still have the token on mainnet.
The question therein lies, though, and Cam made this point, and a valid point, which is, do you lose the functionality, the cheap, affordable, programmable functionality of money when you go to mainnet, wherein it's obviously more expensive? And the answer is yes, if you're not willing to pay for it. The answer is no, you don't lose anything if you can pay. So it almost drives home the idea that we need to make some fucking money. But like chat features, like rewarding people for chatting, that doesn't exist probably. Stuff like that. Or you have to work around in a way that's like, we're not sending a transaction to you every time you send a chat. This is just an example, but like, you don't get paid every time you chat. You don't get this every time maybe it goes Maybe there's some logic in the background that allows it to take place as one transaction or something. I'm not sure, but that would be probably the biggest deterrent, right?
Yep. It's then if you have the NFT product on mainnet, you kind of, it doesn't work. You really have to, people really want to have to buy it. You kind of, it almost makes curation even more important.
Does it solve the bot problems for that same reason?
It might do, yeah. I don't know.
Because transaction costs would be higher. Is that why they would eliminate bots? I guess so.
That would be my assumption. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what it is. It's $1 or something, $2 these days.
Yeah. Which is a discount from back in the day.
That's a deal, baby.
That's a deal. It's all about perspective, baby.
Man, remember paying like $100 in gas?
Yeah, I just couldn't afford that at the time. So I think the most I was paying was like 40, 50, which is still at the time I was like, damn, son, this is crazy.
It was crazy. You had to believe that it wasn't real money.
Right.
You had to just allow yourself to believe that it was fake money. Yeah, that was a wild time.
Yeah.
But yes.
But the strategy then, if you're on mainnet, the strategy is Ethereum alignment. That is the strategy. It's basically saying, and that's kind of, I don't want to push, I haven't wanted to push too hard in this direction because I think, it's higher is like, it's collective. But it's also part of the reason why I start thinking about Zine in like a more concrete fashion, because I think there does exist a gap for some kind of media section that people actually like Zora's on base, so that makes people not really like it. A lot of them are attached to pure NFT projects. Some of them have too much VC energy, which is like you get paid to get on there. There is like as far as I know, there's a space.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm in full agreement of everything you said.
I mean, from mainnet, we can bridge out to all these L2s, I assume. And that bridging that could be like seed funding to these other projects, right? Like a magazine project may get X amount of higher to like put out 3 issues, and that could be a transaction, a bridge to whatever the L2 that this magazine is being released on is.
So you're selling product on Base or Arbitrum or whatever, but okay. Yeah, I don't know nearly enough about that aspect of things to comment, but that's interesting.
I think the trouble with that was if you sell things on, then it takes a lot more trust, or you got to trust humans a lot more. Because if someone's selling something on Base and you want the ETH to go into the pool on ETH, then how does it get back?
Yeah, that's a good point.
So either we have to build like a higher bridge between Base and ETH that the contracts on Base point at, and we know we're in control of.
Right.
Or we have to trust someone to go through an intermediary, or build some sort of automated way of going through one of those intermediaries, which I don't really know how that would work. Or maybe it's possible. Maybe there's agents who could do that. But
does it create? Is it a benefit that the higher token is less useful in a way that it costs more money? Is that a benefit in any way? I don't know what the example would be, but because
I think.
Go ahead.
I think it can be. Like there's more friction to selling it. There's more friction. There's also more friction to buying it.
But not just from a token price perspective, from like nobody's going to be using, I wouldn't be selling a product and charging higher for it because I know that it adds $4 to the price of my goods. So I'm selling it in USDC, but I'm looking at the staking contract to know who's just holding higher or staking higher, and that is my, whatever. So it almost turns it more into, and this might be romantic, but it almost turns it more into like a store of value as opposed to a currency.
Yeah.
I don't know
Interesting.
what my point is there. I don't have.
No, I think you're right. I think that, and that's kind of how I look at the higher token now anyway. I kind of want it to be an access. It's like a store of value, and the value is access to the network.
Right.
And like the gold is access to the network. So it kind of makes, because I don't do anything with my hire anyway. Like
That's what I'm
I
saying.
have it.
It's a
I
store
have
of
it, and that
value.
means that there's a network that I'm part of.
Right. I wonder if, I feel like the Clanker migration, everyone would be down with. I wonder what public perception of Clank to mainnet would be. I'm very interested to know. And I say that because it's like, I have to have conversations like this that lead me to that understanding. Like you said, Clank mainnet a long time ago, and I was like, yeah, I would love to, but we shouldn't. But then now it's 2 months later, and I'm like, fuck yeah, we should. So I don't know if it's something that, but you're good at writing. You're good at outlining things in a way that helps.
Brian sent me a piece of writing that I think might help, because part of this is like, Brian sent me something when he used the word, he used a few words I really liked, but one was the couple phrases that point here, which are good. It's culture first crypto, and then also decentralized studio.
Mm-hmm.
What is the culture of crypto, but also what do we want the culture of crypto to be? Like there's two ways. One is we want it to be less crypto. In some ways, we want it to be like more, but we like the culture of higher more than we like the culture of crypto.
Yeah.
That said, we do enjoy the culture of crypto.
Yeah.
And so the best place for higher to be would be where the culture of crypto mostly is, Ethereum, and for us to bring our own higher culture to the culture of crypto to expand what crypto culture means. And then when I think of decentralized studio, I think of higher as a network is a decentralized studio.
Yeah.
And the only way it can be truly decentralized, or like the way to most strongly align with decentralization as like an idea, is to be on the most robust substrate for decentralized coordination, which is Ethereum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. Dude, clip that shit, honestly. Like that was hot. That was a fucking banger.
Yeah.
That's exactly what, yeah. That was really nice. It makes so much sense. I can't argue against that. I don't want to, but I don't think I could, other than we need low transaction fees so that people can, whatever, I don't know what. Not sure. Like in this scenario, could like the minting platform operate on Base, right? Like it is that
I think I think yeah, it can, but then how do you get the ETH over there? Basically, you have to. I mean, well, if it was just a mint platform that we owned, I guess we could just
Have
Right.
a wallet. Yeah, a base wallet or a base version of the wallet that we ourselves have the control to bridge over.
Right. And well, also it's maybe not on anything, right? It allows for a mainnet, it allows for a base.
I'm
So
happy the way, yeah.
yeah, that's
Right.
probably how you do it. Well, you just follow the layout from existing platforms that do it exactly that way, and no problem. Mint on base, go ahead. But
Yeah.
more power to you.
Our niche is as Brian was saying earlier, our niche is the culture that we have.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the reason people would buy the token almost.
I'm gonna reach out to Jack Butcher because him and Jalil made their own, and it's mainnet specific, right? Minting platform, BV dot whatever, mint maybe. I know Jack was holding higher token. I wonder if he'd be willing to, share his 2 thoughts or 2 cents on something like this. I bet he would. That'd be interesting to, get some outside advice from legend. Fuck it. Anyways,
Wait,
aside,
should we interview him? Is that what it is?
have him on the stream. Have him on the stream. Why the fuck not? It
Yeah.
would just depend on his schedule. I know he's busy. He probably would.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Like I said, I know he was holding higher tokens. He fucked with the community for sure. I don't know if that was just because he fucks with light or what, but I don't know. I met him at Art Basel. We chat occasionally, but he might. Fuck it. Anyways, I'll put that on my list of to-dos.
I think
So,
it's
no, go ahead,
No,
please.
go on.
No.
Go ahead.
I was going to derail. Please.
I was going to ask about like what Jack's like what's his like approach, like value philosophy around art he makes. I get the sense that he's playing with token mechanics and the way that people view them. I don't know how interesting what we're doing would be to him. I'm not sure of like what I imagine if you told him the idea of the platform, maybe there's something there for him. I just don't know. Is he going to be attracted by the idea of like higher as an idea, as higher as a mental model? Is that something that attracts him, or is there something else that he's interested in? I don't know.
Not sure.
Yeah.
I mean, the idea of, he fucks with the idea of like exchanging information, exchanging data, exchanging money, mental models. I think we're tapping into so much of actually the type of art that he creates is a commentary on kind of what we're trying to do, actually. So maybe he would be interested. Also, maybe he says it's retarded. I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe he just.
I think it's cool though. I think it's a nice idea. I think it's a great idea. And I think it would be dope if there was like, when you first brought up his name, I thought, oh, maybe he's going to be the first guy to mint on this NFT platform. Or maybe there's some, or when you said you're going to reach out to him and Jalil, you're going to talk about like what they would think of an NFT platform that was kind of attached to a token in the way that Higher is.
Yes, that's where my initial idea came from, reaching out to him for that exactly. But who knows? If the conversation starts, I don't know where it would go.
So should I write about clanking to mainnet? And also, I didn't mention, but one thing that is going on in my mind is that Clanker takes a fee. So we'd basically be paying a fee to Clanker in perpetuity for them boosting it on the Farcaster network.
So yes, that is very much worth considering. And I mentioned that to, I'm pulling it up. Oh, fuck, it's gone. God damn it, I didn't set my chat with Dishman to not delete. Fuck. Basically, I approached Jack about that same thing, and I was like, hey, why the fuck would we want to give, like, we have all of this set up right now. Why would we want to give expert? And I thought it was like 20% of the fees is what I told him. Why would we want to give 20% of our fees to Clanker? And it is a lot smaller of a fee than I thought it was. I don't have the exact verbiage. I can ask him again. But yes, that's highly necessary for this conversation to know that exact number. So
yeah,
bringing that up.
and in a way, for the like the strictly want this to be cypherpunk kind of part of my brain, it's kind of congruous to have like us paying a fee for someone else to have launched the token when we could, in theory, set up and upgrade a contract on our own that would set up the liquidity for ourselves on our own.
Which Cameron has already built.
Yeah.
Agree? Yeah. You're not wrong with that frame of mind. You're not wrong at all. It does seem like, yeah, if we're going to put on our big boy pants, we're going to write our own contract.
Yeah.
And
we can still say like Farcaster incubated, and they'll probably still like that.
Yeah. And honestly,
Farcaster will always be part of the story.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely. And the more we got to think about it, or I'll speak for myself, the more I've thought about it, the less I thought it was menial at the start, but I find it to be irrelevant at this point, is like the fucking Farcaster highlight that DWR was kind of, that was a little bit of a carrot on a stick that he was putting in front of us, but that's not what we've talked about at all. No, nobody gives a fuck. And that's also maybe cringe too. It's like that might be the type of shit that we're escaping as well.
Right.
The only thing with that also is that if it was to be an upgrade, that Farcaster notification is useful in that situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great point.
So maybe it's worth it to just tie them into the story. If the fee is only like 1% forever, then I think you could probably deal with it and be like, okay. But yeah, it's a...
Let me ask Jack. Sorry to cut you off again.
What are you asking?
I'm going to ask him the exact numbers for the Clanker fee if we were to upgrade through Clanker.
We ask him if it ever decays or will it ever go away.
For what?
If the fee ever goes away, or is it permanent?
Oh, decays. Yeah, I will.
I think that it would be kind of cool if they were like, be free my tokens at some point in time.
It would be interesting. And this may be a scenario where they'd consider adding functionality to Clanker World for us. Like higher though the chart is fucking ass, is just, and I'm biased, but everybody knows higher. It is, from a Farcaster Merkle perspective, higher is like the GOAT, regardless of price action. and I'm assuming a lot here, but
I mean, I
yeah,
agree with that.
thanks, sir. Say again?
I was just saying that I agree with that.
It's unavoidable. I think it's unavoidable. It's, yeah. Okay. Well, where does that leave us, gentlemen?
We still got to share these I don't know what we're gonna call them. We have to cast to open
Proposal?
up. Yeah, to open up the convo to
Yeah.
the community
So,
at large. I think in a way, I guess I do wonder. I guess the thing that I wonder is like the feedback, capturing the feedback is the thing that becomes the next immediate issue after that, or non-issue. I'm not saying it's an issue in a bad way, just like job.
yep. I think gauging sentiment, number one, which I feel like may be incredibly obvious, or ideally it's incredibly obvious. Two, it's probably somewhat ambiguous. So yeah, to your point, and that may end up, well, we talked about the upgrader contract being like the ultimate form of voting, right? Throw your coins in if you want the new ones. Don't if you don't, and if it doesn't pass this threshold, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But realistically, there's probably some form of voting that happens before that as like a preliminary gauge of sentiment. Maybe.
That's I think
Probably
we
run
should.
a poll from the higher on-chain Twitter, maybe.
Yeah.
You probably have people who aren't holders voting, but you could maybe get an idea.
I mean,
Yeah.
I would be interested, maybe not for a decision making perspective, but for my own mind, I would be interested in noting a correlation between to clank or not to clank and holding size.
Yeah. We could do that on Forecaster.
Yeah.
Well, not really though, because people that hold a lot of higher don't hold it in their Forecaster wallet.
And I also, I guess to mirror to kind of go hand in hand with that, I would say that like your opinion on whether we should clank or not matters as much as like the holdings, right? Like someone who maybe doesn't hold any higher and they're like, no, don't do it. It's kind of, to me, I guess, a worthless opinion, right? Like, I mean, and I'm I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but like,
right. Well, and especially it is legitimately worthless if it is a percentage based threshold to migrate.
right.
Like your opinion is valid, but it's worthless in the logistical side of things.
Right.
If it is to be like a precursor for the big daddy vote.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a sentiment analysis phase of this or something like that. So whatever that may be, because that could be like a informal polling on HIGHER.ZIP, HIGHER.ZIP. It's just like an informal, like, what do you feel here?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, it makes sense, right? I don't know any other approach, really.
Right.
I think we just need to start conversations probably in public. I might even just start with a simple question like, what if Pi was on mainnet? Because I think it's we've taken ages to get through this, really, in terms of like thinking it from every angle.
Yeah.
Like, with the question kind of is like, what we need to do something.
Yeah.
We're going stagnant, so we need to do something.
Exactly.
And if we really believe in the vision of this being something larger than it is now, what's the best way forward? And we've been offered this kind of thing, which is kind of spark conversation, but it doesn't have to be the be all and end all of what we do. So yeah, I might just post something. It's like, the higher token is stagnant. We need to do something. What should we do? What if higher was on the mainnet?
Yeah, I think one thing I don't know what I'm about to say is considered as advice or not, but I would be curious to see if like how we message it out is, or how relevant that is. Like, I suppose I think in a good way, we've like basically have become I guess one of the leaders. HIGHER.ZIP has become like the leaders amongst Higher, in a place where like the leaders seemingly are gone. So
for better or worse,
yeah, exactly. So with that as context, I am curious to see if like us presenting the question to the community is a lack of leadership. Is that a lack of leadership? Or can that be, not is it, like, can it be viewed as that? Meaning like could someone on the outside view leadership qualities, and one of those qualities be definitive decision making? Like are we coming out are we coming out with this strategy as like we have a viewpoint, this is what it is, or like we don't know what to do, here are the options? Like there's like that kind of, and I maybe I'm not communicating it correctly, but that's where my thoughts are around.
You're definitely communicating correctly. I think regardless of perception, there's no other way around it. And I personally don't want to be that guy, or us be those guys. I think it's just goes against the ethos in general. But to your point, which I hadn't considered, and I think probably where we're going with this and what you had written already, John, is approaching it from the angle of, we think this is a good idea because these things, like, we do have an opinion on this, but it's not about us. I think that angle is probably the best approach, I think.
Do we have internal? I'm not sure we have internal alignment on what the best course of action forward is, though, beyond make money and grow higher as a culture. Which is kind of good. I'm actually glad that we don't always agree on everything all the time, by the way.
Right. It's great, actually. Yeah, I think clanking makes sense. I lean towards clanking. I lean more towards clanking mainnet. I'll be on record for that. I would, if nobody else could make a decision and I had to do it, I would clank to mainnet at this point in time.
Yeah.
As far as the treasury and the governance structure, I'm sure we have more variance of opinion there, but not by a ton. But that's what I kind of need to explore myself, and compile my thoughts generally. What would you guys say?
I would say the same. I would say clank to mainnet is my preferred option. In the ideal world, would not even use Clanker, but I think it's pragmatic
Right.
and not the worst thing, given that most of the higher holders are going to be on Farcaster, and we owe them. I kind of like opening the question to people. The best practice is to make sure as many people as possible know that we're considering it, and then even if they don't read the first post, at least a notification will come out saying an upgrade is happening, and it's via Clanker. Farcaster can support us with that, and then they have the opportunity to learn more for however long that window's open for.
Granted, I will say to that point, the notification is seemingly a large selling point, but I will say that the top holders, most of them would not see that notification. And the lower holders, say the bottom 10%, bottom 50% even, I would assume, is such a minimal amount of higher to where if we can contact the top holders and tell them we're doing this, we could probably even with the treasury refund any of the low tier holders that didn't see that we were doing it. You know, like the bottom 50%, I don't know what, do they even hold 1% of the token? I'm not sure.
Right.
I feel like all that to say, I feel like the notification maybe is less important than I initially thought it was.
But I think, so then is a post from the higher on-chain account enough then?
No, I would be I'd be in the trenches in the DMs contacting as many people as possible, because the post from the top holders aren't going to see a Farcaster notification, most of them.
Why?
Top holders aren't going to see, because they don't go on Farcaster enough. Like Martin is the top 3. Like when was the last time he posted? Salvino, Blank Space, Saintless. I would assume the top 10 or 20 holders are not going to see that notification. And that's probably I don't know how much that is there. That's 15% of the token, if not more, maybe 20. I could look at that, but so I don't know how. Obviously it's ideal if the notification goes out. That would be a net positive no matter what. But is that enough of a selling point to forego X% of fees? And that's why I'm going to wait for Jack to get back to me on numbers there before we can actually make a decision in that. But yeah, I guess that is a point that I would make, is we'd have to reach out to, the top 50 people regardless. I'm not sure though. Let's look at base scan.
So they said that Clanker said that it's not 20% of LP fees.
No, it's 20% of a percent of the fees or something like that. And I wish I still had that message.
On the docs, it says the Clanker fee is fixed at 20% of LP fees that are collected at the pool level in addition to LP fees.
So I was right in thinking that. Jack basically said no. So maybe it is exactly that. But
let me ask ChatGPT what they mean by that.
Yeah, honestly, thank you. I do have to dip out in like 15 minutes, by the way.
That's cool.
Yes, same. I'm getting a little hungry here.
So top holder has 3.5%. second top has 3.5, third has 3, fourth has 3, seventh or fifth has 2.6, 1.5, 1.4. So in the top 10 is like 15% of the supply, and then it doesn't drop down to the percent of supply that number 50 holds is 0.33. So there's a lot of tokens being held by just the top 50 that, and I don't know, maybe they're all on Farcaster, but I would bet against that if I was a betting man. Anyways,
Yeah.
as you were saying, John.
I would imagine there's around 50% of the token is in like the top 100 for sure, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you guys feel then about like you snooze, you lose? Like we put the message out somewhere as if that's somewhere we're also saying like this is where you read about higher news.
I don't love that idea. I get it, and that may be the reality, but I would first submit at least myself to doing a bunch of fucking groundwork to avoid that, because
That's fair.
I think the negative there is you don't want, well, obviously it just optics wise is shit, but second is like you don't want the biggest holders of your token, the ones that aren't selling, to hate you. Okay, I would be fucking pissed myself. I don't think I'm even in the top 50. I'd be livid, bro. Like, unfortunately, it is real money.
Yeah,
It's
but
scary.
I mean, you're right. I agree with you. But I think what I was like, I guess ripping the Band-Aid or like tough love on the aspect of being an active participant.
Yeah, no, and I don't disagree with that. I've thought about that many times, and that will, regardless, that will happen. Like, there's no avoiding that. And maybe it's bullshit of me to consider using my time to only contact the top accounts, because like maybe should I be contacting the bottom accounts because maybe they need the money more than the guy that's holding 3.5% and has watched it drop 95%, you know?
I think you do your best, don't you? So I think we blast it from all the public places we can, which is why the Clanker notification appeals to me, because that's a large surface area. And even if we didn't do that, you'd want to definitely blast it from the higher account, and you probably want to blast it over a long time period, like a month or something.
Yeah.
Where like almost every other day there's a reminder, like we're planning this. This is planned. You're gonna have to take part if you want to take part in the upgrade. If we reach over this percentage of people locking their tokens into the upgrade contract, we're gonna go ahead with it. You'll have time.
Yeah.
Be ready.
Yeah. Yes. I guess that's maybe why, now that you mentioned that, that's why I was focused on top holders, is because if there is a threshold, without them, it doesn't pass. And if they don't know, it doesn't pass. So, yeah, okay.
So is it like canvassing for votes in a way? Right? Like,
well, it's more so don't lose your fucking money. But when you look at it like, if you don't act, you don't lose your money, then maybe it is canvassing. But also, who decides what the fucking threshold is? Is it 50%? Is it 60, 70, 80, 90, 99?
right.
I think Cam said they did 75 for Oink. I think it was 70 or 75, which I don't know what it actually got to, but yeah, it's a crazy position to be in, because somebody has to click the button, right?
Right.
It doesn't click itself. You're not writing a contract that clicks the button. Well, shit,
Where the
man.
fuck is Aethernet when you need it, bro?
Honestly, yeah, for real. But like somebody has to click that button, and that means that whoever's outside of the threshold that didn't submit, whether abstaining intentionally or not, you just take their money. And that's a weird thing. I don't want to click that button.
Yeah.
You have to have time. You have to hit the threshold, and then there's also 2 weeks or something.
Right.
Where it's like, look, when the threshold's been met, if you want to keep your money, you need to throw
Go
your
in.
tokens in the contract, or whether you want to or not. Like the community has decided we'll go into mainnet or we're going wherever. Then at that point, it's you snooze, you lose.
That's why there's like many. I used to be a goalie in like soccer in like middle school, and it's funny now that I think about this now, is like I would, when the goal was made on me, I would get really upset about it, you know. But then the coach one day said to me like, "Don't beat yourself up about it, because that person had to run past like 12 other people to even get to you. So that means 12 other people let the ball pass or snoozed, you know what I mean? And I think like there is a certain level where like if you snooze hard enough, then like, I'm not trying to be rude, but you fucked up, you lost your money, dude. Like that was you snoozing. It's not because of like the lack of notification or the lack of timing or like the lack of grace period, and like, you know, like on top of all of that, you still snoozed. So you lost the money.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's great framing.
So as long as we put enough like safety mechanisms, which is like, the one-on-one reach out, the 2-week period, like then if like outside of all that, if they still don't do any action, then it's like, all right, well.
Yeah. No, that helps me. It's like the tokens that I hold a lot of, I wouldn't miss any of the notifications at all. Like I would see them, or I'm adjacent enough with individuals that would tip me off, but that's helpful. It's still fucked, but like it's true.
It's just, it is. Yeah. It's
We're
just,
going to give enough time that we find to be fair. Maybe the community even decides what that time length is. And that's that.
right. Exactly.
All this to say everybody is on board, you know? Maybe we present this and everyone's like, no, fuck off. Who knows?
Right.
I doubt it, but maybe.
So what's the best way to say, I like the catchiness of escape to mainnet, but is it an escape? Is that how you want to frame it? Like, what is the frame?
I liked what both of you talked about, which was the potential for growth, legitimacy. You know, escape means to me like we ended up here as opposed to like we decided to go there. But I keep thinking of the like willfully putting yourself into the biggest pond as the littlest fish with clear intention to eat some lunch, you know what I mean? To go higher. I think the raising the ceiling maybe is the right way to approach that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. going higher, I think was the thing that you used, or we're aiming high, I think is.
Sure.
I forget the exact thing you
Absolutely.
said, but you said something like that using the word higher.
Absolutely. But yeah, like you can only go, we don't know how high we can go on base. And we don't know how high we can go without the treasury. And seemingly, it's where we're at now. That's obviously we can change that, but what's your time horizon? You know, how many individuals can we recruit to work for free for 2 years or 3 years? What's the number? I think it's maybe 4, maybe. It might be 0 if the time length is 3 years.
Yeah.
4 if it's 1 year. That's proven. And all the other MFs that have done shit, you know, like that. I don't want to downplay any of that. Like we're the fucking coolest people out there. We're definitely not, you know.
Yeah.
But like Agrimony, that motherfucker, yeah, down. Built something that does not make money, doesn't, and he's like, let's do it. Spent months on that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, can you build an army of that? Maybe. Maybe, but not very likely. We're assembling a team. Fuck it, dude. We are. So to that point, yes, actionables. Get our ducks in a row as far as approaching the community with whatever we want to say. Cam's document is jumping off point. Great jumping off point. It's maybe done. Maybe needs some revisions. I need to look at it again. I have it bookmarked, but and then your conversation about Ethereum mainnet, which is mentioned in Cam's document too, which is great. I'm going to write down my thoughts, whether or not it probably will become something that I post. So I guess same thing for me.
Yeah.
And then you as well, Brian.
Yeah. I'm gonna post as is, with the caveat being that like my thoughts have changed, and it's a little bit, I mean, obviously, like we've presented very cool not only operational use cases for the migration, but like brand framing or narrative around it as well, because that really was like my biggest no, or reason for saying no before, was like the brand narrative aspect of it, which I know it's not like the best excuse, but
Yeah.
you know, given all the stuff we've talked about, I think that like the growing or aiming higher is like the perfect mental model, which kind of, that puts me at ease enough to be like, yeah, that's what we're doing. And then again, with the intentionality being like, or the talk that we had about intentionality is like, all of these things that we're unlocking are not possible unless we clank. Is the thread that I also like to pull on. Sorry. Go ahead.
So I just want to clarify, like, if the fee is 20%, do you still want to clank to mainnet?
No.
Like to clanker, like that clanker gets 20%?
Yeah, of fees.
I off the top of my head, no, but I don't think it's that.
Yeah.
But no, I guess my answer to your question would be no. I don't know if I would. If the fee 20% and everybody wants to migrate still, well, let's just write our own, deploy our own contract.
That I'm more in line with that. I agree with that.
Which is, to both of your points, probably my front runner as far as attractive approaches. But yeah, I don't think 20% of the future $1 trillion decentralized network agency brand is worth it for a notification. Trillions.
Yeah.
I mean,
Dr.
I'm
Evil.
at least thinking like, this is Nike.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know?
Well, that's, yeah, I agree.
I agree. I mean, the potential is you can't value the potential. And this is maybe one of those things where, as well, like I mentioned earlier, if we're like, hey, we'll do it, but you don't get 20%. There's negotiation to be done with Clanker. They can tell us to fuck off, and we'll say, all right, see ya. We're going mainnet without you.
Right.
I love you. But like now that Clanker's Merkle, like I don't care.
Right.
Like Jack Dishman working there is the saving grace for the level of respect I have for Clanker personally.
What's your number, percentage-wise, to Clanker? I'll go first. Mine was 2.
2? I was about to say 2. Yeah, 2%.
Yeah.
Free money. I think they would take any, to be honest. I think they would take any percent. Because why would you not? You either get 0 or 2. All right, we'll do 2. I guess for optics reasons. Well, you gave them 2, but we pay 20. Well, so maybe that would be a reason, but I don't know, man. I would definitely no to 20%. No chance.
So I'm going to go away and write an upgrade to mainnet. I'll mention Clanker as part of the story of how we got to considering it, but I'm not going to mention Clanker as like the way that we would do it, because I'm going to write it from the perspective of, look, we're actually aiming for the whole vision. And if that's going to be the whole vision, then we don't want to be paying 20% in perpetuity. So let's really do this. And at least if we fail trying to bring the full thing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that I heard a quote is like, you shoot for the stars, and if you miss, you at least land on a hot bitch with big titties. That's what mainnet is, bro.
That's the one right there.
Sorry about that. But yes, I think that's great. Yeah. Whatever. What you mentioned about like MOG, SPX, it's like there's no reason that wouldn't just be higher. What? Like MOG created a fucking nice emoji. Really nice. The branding's good. It's great. But it's like what? Higher's just as good and maybe better for other reasons. But from a meme perspective, like shit, we got way more than emoji. Got way more. Anyways, I digress.
We got to put out stuff. We got to put out some more stuff, maybe at a faster rate.
Yeah. And hey, also, we need to pick top 12 for the calendar.
Yeah. Should we have a call tomorrow or whenever you guys are free next? I feel like that's pretty pressing because it's January 8th at this point.
Compile a list if you can today, in my opinion. And then if we need to hop on a call, let's do it tomorrow or whenever. But yeah, I think we need to get these out to Q.
Well, it'd be good if maybe one of you owns, like, I'm going to allocate to months, because I can give you a 12. It might not match up with Cameron's 12. And I think someone needs to just be like, I'm going to take everybody's votes into consideration, but I'm gonna, do this.
I'll do that. I'll happily
Okay.
do that.
Cool.
I will happily do that. I've started my list. I've only compiled 6 of my tops so far. There's a fucking lot, bro. Did you see
Yeah,
that?
it was a huge success.
Yeah, it's a huge list.
72 total submissions, 36 individuals. Like, I mean, respectfully, I don't love a lot of them, but that's not a lot. I don't love some of them. Most of them I really like, which is actually excellent as well. I was like stoked to see some real fucking bangers. And from folks that that have not submitted before, for one, or have submitted before and didn't win. They're like throwing out shit that I'm like, oh yeah, I put that on the calendar. You know what I mean? It's fucking cool. So that's gonna be a banger calendar. I wish we could do something custom, but it's just not feasible. It's really not feasible for time, money, and everything involved.
That was kind of the other aspect that I found myself questioning, I guess, during the break, which is like, there's a other aspect of it, of that other than picking the horses, is like that aspect is like the design of it and the like tangibility of it, of like what we're going for. Because we could choose to like put the entire calendar on one page. It's just like one big ass poster that you put on the wall, and every month you could see at once. You could see your entire year at once. There's like people who kind of prefer the calendar that way. There's also like the turn your pages, and then when you turn your pages, now we got questions of binding, right? We want like a spiral bound, we want like a perfect bound. So there's also those kind of design choices that I think we have to make, alongside obviously choosing the horses themselves.
Yep. Well, listen, to that point, Quinn sent me like a screenshot of the options from his producer. I'll share that with you. And I'm okay with it being produced fucking anywhere, as long as it's something that someone's willing to spring, I don't know, $20 for or something like that.
Right.
But what Quinn sent me was, the choices weren't vast.
This is the Node merch guy, right?
Yeah, Q, sorry.
You doxed them, dude.
Yeah, we did. Fucking doxed on live. I'm sharing this right now, actually, in the Telegram.
Okay.
And I don't know.
I'm happy to bow out of any decisions on that, by the way. I think me probably, I don't want to speak for Cam, but I think you two are best suited for this.
Fair. Respect.
Magnetic calendar. That could be a vibe.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know. I lean towards showcasing the artwork as large as possible, personally.
Yeah.
Because people that are buying this, especially this one, are most likely people that submitted.
This is what inspired us here. This is a spiral bound. One thing I don't like about this is that the calendar's on this side, and then the horse is on this side on every page. I don't know what the idea is behind that necessarily, because like, I guess every time I've seen a calendar, it's been both, essentially, where like you see the calendar and then there's like the image above, so you always see them both together.
Yep.
This one is like, who am I pointing this at then? Do I need to be looking at the calendar all day? I guess if you have a calendar, yes, maybe. Or do I want to be looking at the horses all day? Right? Like if I'm at a desk, I only get to pick one of these.
Yeah. And you don't sit in like a movie office room where like your desk is presenting to the door that people walk in. You're not the CEO where they get to see the picture. So I do lean, if I was to choose very simply, I do lean towards the wall calendar for that exact reason.
Yeah.
I don't, and maybe it's the Well, I asked people to submit for a specific format, which lends itself to the very traditional wall calendar.
Like horizontal, right? The 8.5 by 11 horizontal.
Exactly. And so I think we go down that route. You mentioned you had a printer. If they have options that are a little more premium, let's look at it. But also, like, no, I don't think anyone's buying a $50 calendar. $20 is probably tops. You go to the mall, get a calendar for $9.99. You know what I mean? So $20 is probably where.
I suppose you're right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's an interesting one.
But hey, if it's sick as fuck and it's $50, maybe
that's where my
work.
brain was going, is like, what would the calendar have to be for me to pay $50 for? If you think about it, $50 is still not even that expensive, because it's a product that you're going to have for a year. So $50 for a year is not like a crazy amount, although that we've been conditioned. Yeah, there's cheap calendars everywhere, and now we're conditioned that like a calendar has to be cheap or something. But to that extent, I also think, like, if I'm paying 50, like, do I want each page to have perforated edges so I could rip it out and now it's an art print, right? Like, is that, and so then if it's an art print, like, am I going for that quality of paper that it could like withstand being in a frame, or like, and that's where the justification for that type of price would be. Like, if you're buying not only a calendar, you're buying 12 artworks. Like, and if that's how we're framing it, like, you're buying a zine with 12 artworks, and it just happens to be a calendar for like a year. Yeah. And then after that year, you still have 12 artworks.
Agreed. And I love that. I
think good. I think go for that. Aim higher. Like, even if you get it out in February, like, people, at least you've sold January as an artwork.
Right.
Yeah. True. Fair. Because everybody that's going to get the calendar is going to look through all of them anyways.
Right.
It's not like they're going to not look at the January one because it's already passed.
Right.
Because that was, before you said that, John, my only thing was going to be, I don't think we have enough time to approach something like that. But if we're not concerned with that, which I think I agree with, and we can hit a price point that's not egregious, yeah. Okay. Talk to your boy, Brian. Because I don't think Quinn, love him, but I don't know if his resources are in that sort of quality department.
What's up? I think the only downside with the guy that I got is that he only does printing. So if we do something like a perforated edge or anything like that, that'll kind of be something that we'll have to maybe find someone else that does it. I have to ask him like what the limits of like what he actually does. Is I guess perforation doesn't sound like something that's so crazy that maybe he wouldn't be able to do. That seems like a pretty straightforward thing.
And maybe that's some sort of angle where we supply the perforated paper. Whatever. I don't know. I don't know what this guy's capabilities are.
Yeah, not to mention binding, right? Like, well, I guess just to get an idea, maybe so I could probably call him up today though. So like, what quantity wise, like, do we have a thing on that? Like, because the ones that Quinn print on demand.
No, I told Quinn 30 to 50.
Okay.
Which is random.
Okay.
I think we'd be lucky to sell 30.
Let's do 30 then.
Yeah.
So then if it's an art print, should we number them 1 to 30?
Maybe,
yeah. Like as additions?
Why not?
That could be cool.
Why the fuck not? That's genius.
Yep. And if it's only 30, then that also justifies a higher price point.
True.
Yeah. True. Okay. Sick.
1 of 30 and 4 already sold to us. Done.
Yeah, I'm buying one. There's only
so
a collection.
We really just got 26. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. I'm happy.
Well, I guess then do we give 12 free ones to the 12 people who make it on? Then that's 16. So what
Probably.
do we do addition of 50 then? Because then we get the 16 plus the 4. Or sorry, the 12 plus the 4, 16.
Yeah, but
And then 30 plus that. Or what?
I feel like 16 is probably the amount we'd actually sell,
All right.
to be fair, which probably pays for the whole thing, zero profit.
Yeah, I
If
guess.
I had to lean, I'd lean that way, as opposed to one of our dumbasses having 18 2026 calendars sitting around. Make like like, make it more exclusive. It's better that way, as well as like we're not funding anything with this, even if we sell 30. It'd be
Yeah.
nice, but I don't know.
Could you do 30, try and cover the costs in 14? Oh no, try and cover the costs in 18.
Yeah, that's kind of my thinking, is that you break even, make a little bit of profit, if anything. Selling 16 is doable, but
And if the art prints as well, it makes sense. Like you have like 12 of 30 already gone, and at launch, it makes sense. It's like, oh shit. I mean,
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. And I guess in an emergency case scenario, we could just do like first edition, second edition type of run. Where like the initial 30 is like the first edition, and then by the second one we change something, maybe the paper quality goes down a little bit or something, like we just change it, it's like not as premium essentially.
Yeah.
Which
Or
means that
we could
sorry.
even just leave you could let it sell. We make 30 and let it sell beyond 30, if there's demand and nobody has to even know.
That's true. Maybe we just put like on a binding or something, first edition, on like what is the first edition, and you don't even really know. You just buy one, and depending on the order, you either got a first edition or you didn't. And that's just that.
Yeah, and I love that, but I do fear that we're overthinking it. I think if we sell 16, like, we did a good job, to be honest.
Yeah, we're just hoping here.
Yeah, it's great. We haven't sold anything yet. You know what I mean? Maybe we sell 16 of them right away, and then we can solve that problem.
I was gonna say we probably don't. I think from the higher on chain account and the people interacting with posts and stuff, I wouldn't be surprised if we got like 2 or 3 rogue purchases from there, like people we'd never even heard of. People are just like, oh shit, that looks pretty cool. And
I think so too. I think that low key, everyone who gets an artwork in there will probably buy one alongside the free one that they get.
Should we do some AI mock-ups and maybe gauge some interest? You know what I mean? Like, go through the process of talking to your guy. We have all of the artwork now. I can mock some up in a way that is like, this is what we're making. And if the higher Twitter account gets, fucking 20 comments on it, then it's like, okay, well, 16's maybe not enough.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
focus on getting the design of them down. We'll pick them today and then aim for 30 from there.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Let's do that. That's a good idea. If we have more demand than we have product, that's a good problem to have, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's better to sell out than like literally throw these away, or I don't know what you do, give them away, I suppose.
I guess so. Yeah.
But like being able to say sold out, like, that's cool.
That is cool. Also, that is true.
So maybe we stick with 30 and
like an email list of give us your email if you're interested in the second run, and then if that email list gets long enough, then we approach it. Then whatever that second thing is going to be,
or we at least have a gauge for our next product.
right?
Like that's enough information. Like that's a win that we understand how many people want to buy something outside of making more money.
Right.
Cool. Gentlemen, should we take a recess?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, good chat. Good shit. This is awesome, as always.
Sick chat. Yeah. A lot of things.
Well, let's get to it. Back to work, huh?
Yeah. All right, guys. Talk to you soon. Oh yeah, let me know if you guys want the follow-up call with the calendar, or maybe I don't know what is the action items for the calendar. Then you're definitely going to go through the 12 images you said, but outside of that,
send the 12 images. I'll compile
guy,
all 4 of our inputs and then decide if we need to chat.
Cool.
Depending on range, but yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
I guess how are we deciding on the design of the calendar outside of the images? Through the chat?
You're gonna call your boy and see what he's got.
Okay.
The ones I've sent are my only resource.
Okay, cool.
So
when you lead that, Brian?
What was that?
Like if you lead that, Brian, like if Colfax shares 12 selected, and then you can, knowing now that our vision is 30 higher quality, do whatever you can.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure being a printer and like handling paper, the options are pretty unlimited. But I want to secure that when it comes to binding, because that would be the hardest thing if we just got like a stack of paper and I had to like bind it myself. I guess for 30, it's not really that much. So I mean, it's pretty limitless, I guess.
Too. Send me half. I'll bind half of them.
Yeah, so it might be fine. So then I guess that means that our possibilities are kind of endless then, because then in the same extent, we could perforate as well.
Yep.
If we're going with 30 is not even that much,
No, it's one evening of binding.
Right.
Granted, we do have to ship it all, but fuck it, whatever.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was thinking maybe we could do some cool packaging too, in a way that's like we get these mailers or whatever, and like,
hell yeah,
stencil, spray paint, higher on it or something interesting that's low volume. We do ourselves.
Yeah.
Or like the HZ logo, make it look like sexy but handmade at the same time. Like somebody fucked around with it.
That'd be
sick, that.
Yeah. The dope mailers would be, that's the whole thing right there. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Or like I have a label printer, and I can print artwork on it in black and white in a cool way. Like it's a sticker. We can do a few things there. I have ideas.
Hell yeah. Cool. All right. So then I'm just going to get a roundabout price on printing and the options for printing. But in terms of ideas of what the book could look like, seems that that's whatever we want, kind of, because we're taking some of that burden on. In terms of whatever the printer can't do, we could take some of that burden on.
Yeah. And realistically, I was going to say realistically, it looks like Spiral, but there are other ways we can bind shit depending on how we want to do it. I mean, you can bind it with fucking thread. You could stitch it.
I have a stapler that is, what is that called? Like a long tooth stapler or long hinge stapler. So you could get like an 11-inch paper, and I could, like if it's 22 inches, my stapler will go like 11 inches in and staple right in the center.
I'll get on Pinterest. Let's look at some shit. Let's look at some DIY calendars and what that looks like.
All right.
But yeah, a spiral is fine if needed. No problem. But if there's ideas around that, I looked online. It's difficult to find anything custom that's attractive.
you guys just full send it. Like, even if they're 30 different fucking calendars, that's still cool shit. Like, just do whatever you think would be cool, and nobody's gonna mind. Like,
Cool.
if it's decent enough paper and people can look at the artwork of them and their friends, they're gonna want it, and it's limited edition. Just have fun with it. Like, it's a
Sure.
do what you want to do. Like, love doing it. I can't, like,
Yeah.
don't stress about shit. It's gonna be cool.
Nah, good perspective. Thank you. It is gonna be cool. All right, fuck it.
All right.
Let's make some dope shit.
Cool.
All right.
All right,
Well,
guys.
yeah, we'll talk soon. Okay.
See ya.